You already know what it is. You are now tuning in to Damaged Goods. Hey, make sure you tap that follow. Oh, yeah. Make sure you subscribe, like, share. We're going to keep getting bigger and bigger. Damaged goods, but you know I still got the value. Did it by myself, I made my name without you. Yeah, I got a game on lockdown, ayy. See me when I'm chilling at the top now, ayy. I'ma tell my story. I don't give a fuck, you can watch out. Mind over matter, I'm telling the truth. Been through the worst, I got nothing to lose. Talking to me, better watch what you say. I am the one who don't play with no games. Velocity, property of my own shame. Militant minded and sick in the brain. Truly right now, I don't need to explain. Maki on fire, now you know my name. Hey, yo, damaged goods, okay, wait, damaged goods, okay, wait, okay, damaged goods, but you know I still got the value, did it by myself, I made my name without you, and I got the game on lockdown, stay me chillin' at the fucking talk now, I'ma tell my story, I don't give a fuck, you can watch now, damaged goods, but you know I still got the value. Did it by myself, I made my name without you, And I got a game on lockdown, ayy. See me when I'm chilling at the top now, ayy. I'ma tell my story. I don't give a fuck, you can watch now. Yeah. Hey, yeah. Hey, what? Hey, gang, yo. You already know what the fuck going on. Damaged goods. Damaged goods with no motherfucking regrets.
Hey y'all, what's good? So my very short vacation ended up being like 2 years. I have nothing else to say about that except for I'm really lazy. So how y'all been? What's up? Hi, I love you, Pats. Hey, Rhonda. Can y'all hear me? Everything good? I'm smoking in the house and my hubby can't yell at me. Hey, Gina, I love you. How are you? Thank you. Robin, hey, what's up? I am very happy to see y'all. It's been a very long time. I've been trying to get back into motivation mode. And every time I am just about to start doing this again, something ends up happening and I don't. So there's, I guess, that. Anywho, tonight we are going to be talking about addiction, something that was a part of my life for my entire life. Thank you. I'm happy to be back. Yeah, she's here. She's staring at me. I have a light in my doorway so that I can have more light because I give the light in my fan away. Hold on, dog. I also stole my husband's light because it's dark in here. Benny is joining me at some point. He has some things that he had to handle before, so he'll be here shortly. But anyway, for everybody who is new, welcome. I'm very happy to have y'all here. And just so that we get it out of the way, I have a mouth worse than a truck driver. Apologies up front because I cuss a lot. That's just the way life is. I do apologize. I know a lot of people do not like and appreciate it. I guess, like I said, I'm sorry up front. Everybody, if you're offended or upset or if yo, what up, Matt? If anything ends up being a little bit too deep for y'all, just say goodbye and I'll see you next time. I won't be offended, won't be upset, won't be none of that because I get it. Shit, that's just the way shit is, right? Anyway, where the fuck you at? So all my OGs up in here, thank you for hanging out and being here for me. I know it's been a long ass time, and I'm sorry for that. Anyway, so back before my before my vacation, I was doing a lot of domestic violence lives, and thanks, Gina. I was doing a lot of advocating for that because a lot of people do not really know a lot about it. Some people think just because it doesn't hurt doesn't mean that it's not abuse, and that's not true. There's many forms of abuse. Hey, baby, I love you. And so my goal was to help people who have survived it heal, share their stories so that others can see that they are not alone, educate people, help people to put together effective, safe escape routes, and, let people know that we are here for them no matter what. But I always had intended on doing addiction lives as well, because that's another huge issue that's been a part of my entire life. So knowing that there are a lot of others out there struggling with the same thing, I also wanted to incorporate that into my streams. So anyway, I figured tonight would be the night I would do it. Oh, thank you. I love y'all too, man. I do. I've missed y'all. So anyway, at any time, if anybody has questions, feel free to ask, because I'm like ask whatever you want. I will say whatever. It don't matter to me one way or another. I have like no fucking secrets, and I'm not afraid to tell the truth about any of the bullshit that I've fucking done. So absolutely, by all means, just ask if you have any questions. Most people, when they think about doing drugs or being, involved in addiction, it happens at a much later age. And, for the most part, I would imagine that it's true. Most people do not start messing around with drugs until they are much older, and at least even know what the hell that they are doing, because let's face it, as a child, you don't really know what you're doing. You're like smoking weed and, drinking your dad's beer and shit like that. Me, I was in 5th grade, and I was hanging out. Spitfire, hey babe. I was hanging out with a friend of mine. She was my best friend for many years. Her name's Desiree. Her and I were always together, and she had an older sister and a single mom, and her mom was always working. Let's just say she was like really never home. Thank you, Matthew. Thank you. So we were smoking weed and shit like that, drinking beer, smoking cigarettes. 5th grade, whatever. We would hang out with her sister, who was older, and her sister's friends, because that's all there really was, right? So smoking weed with them and hanging out, drinking, playing like little quarters. You flip the quarter in a shot glass, like stupid drinking games like that. That was like, what we did. We were so cool and way too freaking young, but we did it. And anyway, so the summer in between 5th and 6th, we had they moved from where they were staying into a small trailer park, probably about 20 minutes further away from where their apartment was. And that's when we started meeting everybody in there. Nothing, not dogging, no trailer parks, nothing like that. When you're kids and stuff, you hang out with the neighborhood people. Everyone in there happened to be older. And like I said, we were hanging out with her older sister and their, her friends. So we're sitting around hanging out in the carport at a card table, and we're just hanging out, chilling, drinking, always fucking drinking, it seems like. And they come out of the house, the sister and her boyfriend, and they're talking and, laughing, whatever. And we're getting ready to light up a joint. Desiree and I were. And they just were sitting there at the table and they had a bunch of shit with them. And I had no clue what it was that they were doing. I had no idea what the fuck it was. And they were like, y'all want some of this? And I'm like, my nosy ass, like, well, what is it? Oh, thanks, babe. And so they were like, wait, hold on a minute. Just give me a second. And her sister, Brandy, and her boyfriend, we'll name him Nick. They went into the house and were 49 months. They were talking about it, right? I guess trying to figure out like what they were going to do, how it was going to go down. And they walk out, they sit down, and they're like, you know what? Here. And they're like, just do this. Here, just snort this. Okay. Never snorted anything in my life. And I'm just, no idea. I didn't ask any questions, like, what is it? Am I going to die? I guess I was curious about what it was, but I really didn't ask because, they were older, right? So they're not going to give me anything that's going to like be detrimental to my health or, destroy the rest of my life, right? Not them. Why would they? But, you also don't realize that when you are an addict, you don't think maybe, my sister and her friend who are going into the 6th grade should not be doing lines of heroin off of a card table in the carport. But that's how it went down. The first time that I ever did heroin was doing just snorting lines of it that they poured it out. And that's what we did. And I was pretty fucked up. I ain't gonna lie. So what are you? You're usually what, 10, 5th grade? I was older because my birthday is in November, so I was always the oldest in my class. So I was 11, in the summer between 5th and 6th. And I just remember that feeling, like out of the blue, it just kind of like came up and like grabbed me. And like, I was just like, and like, that was really it. So I couldn't, what's up, fatty? I couldn't really like bitch about anything, I kind of was just like, I didn't know what it was, but I liked it. That's all I knew. I liked it. And Desiree liked it. And her sister and her boyfriend, they were in charge of making sure that we were okay, not doing anything stupid. And we were doing some stupid shit. I didn't fucking know it though, because, they said, go ahead. So that's what we did. At that point, they had literally been the first source of marijuana that I'd ever gotten that from. They used to get beer, bring it home, whatever, and throw some to Desiree and I, and we would just hang out in the bedroom and we would literally just sit there and drink and flip fucking quarters into a shot glass. That's how we spent our time, because we're kids, don't know any better. We're just, stupid, but we're really cool because we're doing adult stuff, right? At that point, I was at her house more than I was at my own house. So doing one line of heroin and then like a few hours later, however many more, I don't know how many I did throughout the night, probably like maybe 2, if maybe 3 at the most. I was so little, I was so young. I don't know how much I did, but it was more than I should have. It went from one night to doing it the next night and doing it, whenever they came around. Wasn't always happening, they didn't always have it. And if they did, they weren't always sharing it, but they absolutely were very willing to share it when we were just hanging out and they, came out and were around us. Were you hooked off the first time? No, I wasn't like you know, I wasn't like fiending for it or like addicted to it or anything like that after that first night. But I liked it, and I definitely wanted to do it again. That is absolutely something that I remember. And a lot of people, some people can't remember, and they won't be able to tell you the first time that they ever got high or used like a major drug or anything like that, because they were just fucked up, don't remember whatever. But I just do. I remember it because I just knew where I was and how it was going. And I mean, how do you forget that shit? But so yeah, with without saying, I was probably what you would call a heroin addict within. There he is.
Hey.
How's it going, buddy?
Good. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. My new buddy right here, y'all. Everyone here for Benny, thank you for being here.
I actually got here about, 12 minutes early.
So how was your day? Good?
It was one of those days.
Yeah.
What happened,
Spur?
It was one of them days. I'll be glad when tomorrow comes.
I'm good at it. So you probably, I don't know if you heard or not, but I just told them about my first time, and I can repeat it in a minute. But sure. Do you remember your first time ever using anything other than weed?
Yes. Mm-hmm. I do. I was like one of those holdouts, right? Like, I didn't start drinking young. I didn't start smoking cigarettes young. The first time I did anything more than smoke weed, it was at a wedding, and my dad, he rest his soul, he pressured me into it, and then it was like that the fire was ignited, right?
Right.
But I come from a family where that at that time it was acceptable to use with your kids, you know.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So what did you think?
Thank you, Matt. Huh?
What did you think of it?
You know, at first I wasn't in love with it, you know, and it was one of those things that it was because of the family dynamic and the way cocaine was at the time. It was like try again and you will succeed. And yeah, you know, and then it quickly became like this poly thing, right? Like if you had a drink, you had to have some Coke. If you had some Coke, well, you were definitely going to drink. And then the weed and, you know, all the things kind of interwoven. But I can remember back to the first time I had a drink, and I don't remember a lot of my childhood for various different reasons, but I remember being 6, almost 7, and this was when the box wine was the craze. I can remember in the middle of the night being caught by my mom. I would stick my head under the spout and just squeeze it. Right. And I remember she came, Benjamin, what are you doing? And then it was like, that was just ingrained in my mind, you know? So I was almost 7, and it wasn't that I like the taste, right? And thinking back like that, some people, they like to drink for the effect. They don't like the taste, right? Looking back, like I like the taste of it. So it was kind of that precursory part of it all that kind of set it up, you know?
Not even hating, because I always did love that boxed wine. I didn't care. Yeah. You know, up north, they actually do boxed Fireball.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
That was my best friend for a very long time.
Nice.
What were you, what kind of wine? Red, white, blush?
Yeah, it was red. Yeah. Just like that dry red wine. And I can remember to this day. You know, it's like when my folks will open a bottle of wine, it's like it takes me straight back to that day, right? I can hear my mother in my ear catching me drinking the wine from the refrigerator out of the spout.
Yeah, I just can't. That's
At
that's
first,
great.
I was like, I won't put my mouth on it, and then she's like, I'm not putting my mouth on it. I'm just kind of, I'm air drinking it.
It's not what you think, Mom. Stop looking.
Right.
That's funny as hell. I was a beer drinker.
Really?
I loved beer. Wow. Yeah, no, I did. And it's because, like I was telling them, we were drinking beer in 5th grade at my friend's house. And we were, you know, her sister was watching us to take care and make sure we were behaving and not getting in trouble or doing anything wrong. We were being good. She was so responsible. She'd just throw us, you know, beer, and we would flip quarters into a shot glass, and we would fucking play drinking games. I mean, you'd walk in, we'd be fucking, you have to spin in a circle, touch your nose, do jump, you know, all that stupid shit. And yeah, that's how I started drinking was beer. And then we were, you know, they got us smoking pot. Here, smoke this, cigarettes, you know. So 5th grade, and you know, this is during school year, is when like the drinking beer and the smoking weed and the cigarettes all started.
Yep.
In the summer of 5th and 6th is when they said, do you guys want to do this? And then they were like, wait a minute. And Brandy was like, let's go in the house really quick, you know, just make it. And she's like, to her boyfriend, who I named Nick, they went in the house because they had like a whole little, you know, their little toolkit, and they fucking go in there and they're talking. They come back out and they're like, here, just snort this. And at this point, we're sitting at a card table, you know, at the trailer park under the carport. And we are, you know, snorting lines. I didn't ask what it was.
Right.
You know,
now we're here.
Yeah.
We're
like
here
I was
now.
telling them, it was not going to kill me because they wouldn't give me anything that was going to hurt me. They wouldn't give me anything that was going to kill me, right? Because I've known them for I don't know how long. And it's not just me, it's also her younger sister. The worst thing they did was introduce me to the alcohol and the weed and the heroin. The best thing, and I will thank them for the rest of my life, that they did for me was tell me to snort it, because I'd never shot heroin up in my life.
Wow.
In fact, I didn't know for a very long time that, you know, I watched them do it, but I didn't know how to do it. And I just, fuck that. No, like I've seen the disaster, you know, that shit caused with them. I'm good. I like, you know, I can snort it. I like the way it smelled anyway. I was set.
That's what I used to say. I don't really like cocaine. I just like the way it smells. I just want the smell of it.
Yeah. Well, back then too, like it was the good shit, right? Like it wasn't fucked up. It wasn't like, you know, and people get mad when I say this, but it's the truth. Back then, when especially like even up until, I don't even know, maybe up, I guess not too, like August will be 16 years I'm clean. So maybe like say fucking, I don't even know how long ago do you think did they start fucking shit up? Because I'll tell you what, like I knew if I was going to get a bundle, I knew it was heroin. It was safe. Like I knew, and it wasn't like safe. Everybody can still die, but I knew if I was going to get coke, it was coke. If it was, you know, it'd be cut a little bit, but not crazy. If I was going to get heroin, I knew it was heroin. So it was safer. It was safe back then, and it was good.
Right. It was a buyer's market, right? Now it's like completely a seller's market. And I know that, you know, coming from Dallas out here to a much smaller town, I'm only 25 minutes east of downtown. And there's been a rash of overdoses, right? And it's really a testament to the depths in which that stuff will reach out, you know. That's one of the reasons why I also feel so blessed about having went to jail, right? Because I was definitely on a train ride nowhere, right? And shortly after, me being incarcerated, that's when here you really started to hear about, oh, well, they're putting fentanyl in the meth and they're putting fentanyl in the weed and, and all the things in it. And in it, I felt like God had really, he helped me dodge a bullet. You know what I mean? And
Absolutely.
yeah, I'm so blessed. So
What
blessed.
it's that trank shit that they use now,
The elephant trank stuff.
I don't know what it's called everywhere. I mean, there's
Yeah.
all names of all these different things, and I have no idea what it is, but, like, people are, like, taking a Xanax pill, like a bar, and they're dying, and nothing's saving their lives, and nobody understands. You don't just drop dead from a fucking bar. It just doesn't happen.
No.
But they're pressing it with all that fucking shit, and I don't understand it because why? You're gonna make your money. A junkie's a junkie, a junkie.
They're coming back.
Don't kill
Yeah.
me, and I'll be back,
I mean, I think that, like the idea of the Narcan was, a beautiful thing, right? And even in my profession, we keep it in the glove box, right? But nowadays, I thank God I've never had to administer it, but you see on YouTube, for instance, they're having to hit people with 3 and 4 and 5 different doses of Narcan to bring them out of this fentanyl and these other synthetic opioids. And it's scary, it's very scary. But for me, like I just can't, I can't thank God enough for having delivered me to jail and away from that, like it's truly, it was the best thing for me, right?
I mean, it really was. And it doesn't matter how high your tolerance is or like if you were using alone or not. I mean, really think about it. It was only a matter of time. You'd never know. Just because you go to the same person every time, he may not be fucking it up, but the person he got it from might be.
Right.
It's Russian roulette. It's just it's gonna happen. So I'm happy you went to jail too, because I
Me
mean,
too.
that
Yeah.
happened and you fucking end up dead. It's just not cool.
For me, like starting, when I moved from up north down here, back down here, because I'm from here, moved north and then came back. I came back in 2000, like the end of the summer of 2007. And I had never been exposed to any meth, right? I had seen it and I was like, yeah, no, that's, like the stigma of it, right? Like, oh, the, truck drivers and, whatever. And so when I got down here, this stuff is everywhere, right? And I happened to move straight into a place and the next door neighbor was the guy, right? And
Oh my
for
God.
me, when I came here, I was probably close to a fifth a day Hennessy drinker. And I became, I became very understanding the first time I tried it. It was like, meth doesn't want, for me, in my experience,
Mhm.
meth didn't want me to smoke weed. Meth didn't want me to drink Hennessy. Meth didn't want me to do anything but it, right? It's very, for me, it was very selfish. And I used that as a vehicle because it was like I've been drinking straight warm Hennessy for 7, 8 years now. Wake up in the morning like this. And now all of a sudden there's this wonder drug, right? This wonder drug, and I never was a smoker, I initially just started, nasal nasal ingestion, we'll call it that. And I went straight from shaking to not drinking anymore. And I thought, well, wow, this is a leg up, right? This is
Absolutely.
great. Yeah, I mean, this is gonna work, right? And
What about when you were super trashed? Like you were so drunk that you're like, I gotta go do like, half an 8 ball or like a couple good
just,
lines to go straighten myself out
just
because
straighten back out.
everyone knows like if you're that shitty, if you're sloppy, like white girl wasted, you go do a couple lines of coke and all of a sudden we're good to go again.
Yeah,
Like
you can,
better
yeah,
than
you're back baseline.
that.
And it worked for a while. And I think that one of the added benefits is that I was living in an area in Dallas, uptown, North Dallas, where it wasn't it wasn't like you're seeing the blue collar tweakers come around, right? You're seeing people that got money to come and get it. And so you're like, yeah, this isn't a socioeconomic issue. This isn't for poor people. Back then it was quite expensive, right? So it worked. And like I said, one of the added benefits is, for me, um being involved with music and film and different things, it sort of accentuated those things, right? It made the music sound way better. The creative process was, much, much deeper. You could pull things. It was just performance enhancing in every way. And then, of course, it would make you a sexual tyrannosaurus, right? So it's like,
Y'all hear that?
every
He was king dingling.
this is everything I've ever wanted, and I don't have to drink anymore, right?
Mhm.
And it worked good for about a year, and then enter in the family divisions. Mainly that was the thing. It was the divide in the family. They're like, hey, you're over here, we know you're using something. And I was
Yeah.
not capable of being honest. I'm like, no, this is me, right? And that was back at a time where must be the recipe was different, because it wasn't gonna knock the weight off of you. It wasn't gonna make you look like a zombie. You could maintain your weight, and you could still fool people, right?
Functioning,
Today,
everything was good. It was like, and
yeah,
it was a clean high.
today, like, you do it one time and these people are wandering around, they look like zombies. So
Oh,
it within a year, or a little over a year, not quite a year and a half, I had reached a point where I was like, I'm done, right? Like, I've been gone all these years, and now I'm back here with, my core family, and this is what I have to show them, right? They when I was drinking, it wasn't really a problem, right? Because a lot of my family are, active drinkers. So to drink wasn't the issue. And no one was as enthused with me stopping drinking as I was, right? They're like, yeah, 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 no, this is not good. So I went to a blue collar rehab here in Dallas, and I did the 28 days, and then they had a halfway house that was 30 days after that. So I went straight from the facility to the halfway house, and I did 28 days, and in 2 days they're going to put me out, right? And I'm like, hey, I'd like to stay another month. So they're like, yeah, you can stay another month. So I ended up staying two more. I stayed 90 days in the halfway house, just because I didn't feel like my footing was firm, right? Even though I had been through, you know, I think I probably did 180 meetings in 90 days, right? Like, the baseline, a lot of sponsors will tell you is, hey man, to really set yourself up for success, you need to try to hit 90 and 90. You need to do 90 meetings in 90 days.
90 days.
Um,
Exactly.
right. That doesn't mean hit two on Saturday so you don't have to go Sunday. It means you need to go to at least one every day.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think I did probably
Yep.
160 or 180 in 90 days. And then I went through the 90 days of the halfway house. And then I came out, and it was like, thanks, Matt. It was like automatic, right? The family's back there, they trust you around there. I mean, I never was like a thief of people's things, but
Mhm.
there's that stigma that comes with it, right? So now,
Yeah.
mom leaves her purse out, and it's you start to feel it like, yeah, 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 no, this is good, right? And I went along for a long time. I think I put 2 or 3 years down, and um, for me, the synonymous thread usually was, after my initial introduction to it, it was always a woman, right? Me and intimate relationships of the wrong type, the wrong kind of women. They bring it in, and then it's like boom, right? You got sex, you've got fast women, you've got the lifestyle, and then bam, you're back on,
Mm-hmm.
right? So the first initial relationship I had, and I think I tried to wait I didn't make it quite 2 years, because the sponsor will tell you, if you want to be real responsible in your recovery, you ought to try to wait 2 years out of recovery before you enter into something pretty serious.
Mhm.
And so I waited well over a year, met a beautiful Hispanic woman, and bam, I'm back on. Right. Well, this particular Hispanic woman, um, she kept it in the closet for quite a while, but then I realized, well, she uses intravenously, right? And that sort of was that segue into that lifestyle, and she's like, I was kind of like you, like I'd seen people do it, but I just turned my head and act like it wasn't going on over there. Like, that's not a thing. I'm not seeing that. And then she administered, my first intravenous dose, and it was unlike anything else. It was, at that point, it was the pinnacle of life, right? Like everything I spoke about before with just the nasal ingestion is now times 20 or 30 or 100 even, right? So,
Wow.
but what came with that, and I lived that lifestyle for a year and a half, her and I, and it was absolutely a nightmare. Um, every single day was a nightmare. Every night was a nightmare. Looking back, the blessing was that there was the the network was, we were plugged in a way where we didn't have to worry about clean rigs, right?
Mhm.
We didn't have to worry about reusing them or
Mhm.
sharing them or no wild stuff, and that was a blessing. Right.
Right.
um I think that it also enabled the situation, because there were times where, if you didn't have one for a couple of days, like, I'm not going to reuse one that I've already
Right.
used, right?
Mhm.
So went like that for about a year and a half, and then it was apparent by that time that there was really, there's a real issue. And so back to rehab again, and did 25 days or so. And then the gal that initially introduced me to the needle, she pops up at the rehab, right? And she's making all the plans for what it's going to be like when you get out. And no, she comes completely twack to the rehab, and no, I'm sober, and all of the things.
Right. You
And
see me in rehab?
do what?
Didn't you see I was in rehab?
Yeah. Yeah. And so I left the rehab, and then we kind of reunited. And um I was able, by some act of God, was able to convince her that she needed to get clean. But she got clean, and she sort of just white knuckled it, right? She didn't do any rehab, she didn't do meetings. She just abstained, was all she did, and so it stayed like that for quite a while. Then we split, and then we were apart for maybe 6 months, got back together, and then bam, right back into it again, you know. And so it was back and forth with her for quite a while.
Do
And
you
then I
think
did,
done better had she gone through the programs and the steps and everything else?
yeah, because a sponsor will definitely tell you that somebody that you're using with, in your domestic relationship, you're
Almost.
definitely not, like, the odds are less than 1% that you're going to be able to get clean together at the same time and stay clean, right? Like, it's next to zero. And
And then
we
you have to worry, like, you're doing good, but are they doing something behind your back? Or then you find out that they are, or vice versa. It's a
that's
mess. It's
it.
just a disaster. And then it's there, and no matter how much you try not to, eventually you're going to give in.
That's it. And it was just, it was a nightmare. And then she sort of turned the corner. And when she turned the corner, she never looked back in terms of that lifestyle. And I kind of stayed stuck in it, for just a short amount of time. And then I got clean, but I would, Once I got clean from the needle, I stayed clean, never went back to it ever again.
Mhm.
And but I would smoke my little weed, and I would really laugh at people that would say, "Oh, marijuana is a gateway drug." And I'm like, "You are an idiot is what you are." But now looking back, it actually is, right? Once I fix my mind, once we fix our minds that we're going to just smoke a little pot in order to change the way we feel about ourselves today, or to get through a rough scenario, or to I'm having a great day, so I'm going to smoke a little bit, or I'm having a bad day and I'm going to smoke a little bit, right? You didn't really need a reason.
Right.
Once I get over that mental hurdle that, okay, well, it's just a little pot, right?
Mhm.
I just, I just want to sleep better, or, whatever lie you could tell yourself, right?
Mhm.
Once I get over
Yeah.
that, I'm right back in, right? And so
Mhm.
that's how, for me, um, for me, pot was always a real gateway issue, but I wasn't capable of being honest with myself and saying, yeah, no, pot's a problem, right?
It is.
Pot's the first problem, right? And it opens the door to all the rest of the problems. Now, the one the one thing about the meth is that once I started it, I haven't had a drink. I've not been drunk since about late 2008. Like, I just refuse to, right? I won't. There's just no way. I've villainized it. I don't, I can go sit anywhere. I can kiss my gal friend if she's had a couple margaritas. It doesn't bother me. Like, I would never think about drinking ever again. And
Mhm.
um but in the back of your mind all the time, right? We're tedious. We have tedious minds, right? In the back of our minds, I know that, if I have a bad day, it's like, well, man, what if, right? Like, what if? Well, what if you're going to mess up your probation? You're going to mess up this, you're going to mess up that. And so those what if days are like so few and far between. Like, I think I've had two what if days, you know, and one of them I'm not even sure if it wasn't just a dream, because I still, and I know you can attest to this, I still will have using dreams. I'll have dreams when I'm using, and then it's always the same thread, right? Like, I use, and then, oh no, I've got to go to probation. And then I wake up and I'm like, oh God, thank God it was just a dream. And that's
You
like, it's torture, you know? I'll have them two or three
thank you
times a week, probably.
so much. Um,
That's it, Matt.
the
But never.
dreams are they're fucked up. Because you wake up and you're still in that like state of high until you're like, shaking it
That's
out.
it.
But I still have moments where like, and it'll be like a minute, it could be 5 minutes. Stop yelling at me. It could be, I don't know how long, but out of the blue, I could be cooking dinner, I could be doing anything, and I'll smell it randomly still to this day, or I'll get that phantom high and I'll just be doing, and I'm like, and I got to shake it off. Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I'm in August is 16 years. I'm still like, my brain still plays with me. It's
We
not
have,
like you
it's a
don't get
disease.
clean, it goes so long and it's done. It doesn't just disappear. It's always
No,
like, I will always be a junkie. It's whether or not I choose to use it or not.
right. That's it. And I think, I also, being a man that came from, like, I came from the kind of family where, if you were crying about something, dad might come around and say, hey, you want something to cry about? I'll give you something to cry about. And then so you're taught at a real early age, as a boy, to repress your feelings, right? You're afraid physically of showing certain emotions because of the fear of, well, I don't want him to give me something to cry. I don't want something to cry about. No. So I'll just hide it deep down, and then as I got to be a man, like, how do you undo that? Right? You really, you can't. And so I am sort of one of those quintessential men that I carry a load every day. You know, I carry a heavy burden, um, and I'm just okay with it, right? Ernie Shell said it one time. He said, "I don't ask, I don't ask God to relieve the weight. I ask Him for broader shoulders." He said that one time, and I was like, "This dude's a genius."
Holy smart.
No, he said, "I don't ask God to lighten my burden. I ask Him for broader shoulders." And I was like, "That's genius! Like you're singing to the choir, homie."
Exactly. Oh my
Yeah.
God. Do you
It's guys.
remember do you remember your progression? Like I was mainly a heroin addict from like 11 years old throughout, but you know, I did meth and I did coke and I enjoyed both of them. I don't actually know if I was like if my drug of choice was heroin anymore, or if it was meth, or if it was coke, or if I was just like I don't discriminate.
You're
One thing I can tell you, and I
user.
know it sounds yeah, what
Yeah.
sounds really stupid is I wasn't a pill user. I actually looked down on pill poppers like I was better than them. And here I am a fucking I'm a heroin addict. I'm a dope addict. You know, I love the burn. Like do that, and I'm just like
Right.
that burn, like fry my brain, kill my nose, don't give a shit. It's great, you know, like
Yeah,
cocaine, you
that's
do
how
it
you
so
know
damn.
it's working now.
So
Yeah.
I don't really know where that mindset of like I don't do pills. Like, what's wrong with you? I don't know where that came from, and I don't like. I mean, I assume that I'm my drug of choice was heroin, and I just kind of like I didn't discriminate. If you had one or two of the other things around, I would do it, but I was selective. I didn't do everything. But that was kind of my progression was like, you know, the beer, the weed, and then like the heroin, and then mainly heroin for most of my life until I was introduced. I think I was like late teens, early 20s when I was introduced to cocaine and crystal meth.
I heard a heroin user that they were asked what it was like to use heroin, and they said what his response was, "It's like being hugged by Jesus." And I thought,
Mm,
wow, that is such a strong um it's just a strong statement, right? Like
it
how
really
and
is.
I yeah, right? And I can relate in a way, right? Because I think I probably clearly have some undiagnosed ADHD. So for me, one of the parts of the meth was that it would dial me in, right? It wouldn't wind me up and I can't talk and it would dial me in the right dose, right? In the right dose, it would dial me in and it would calm me down. And but when I heard him say that, it was like, wow, that it made I understood what he was saying, but it almost made it seem appealing, right? Like when,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? When are you going to be ever hugged by Jesus, right? Not here, you know, up there, but yeah. And I was just like, wow, I could understand why people have such a hard time, you know, getting off of heroin, you know?
No, it actually makes a lot of sense. Yeah. No, I can understand that. I remember when I was doing ecstasy a lot, you know, when the designer drugs came in, you know, MDMA was like a big thing. And, you know, I had my preferred uh my preferred X pills, you know, like the orange X's or the blue dolphins were my favorites. I remember saying that I hope when I die and go to heaven that it feels like ecstasy. Like I
Fair
hope
enough.
that that's what it's like up there. Like it feel like that was just the way it was. And I believed it and felt that I think every time I ever used it. And it sounds stupid, but that's you know, that's what it was like for me. And I was young. That was probably what I did after heroin was you know, the X pills. I think they came around when we were young, real young. How many times did you try quitting?
Oh, every day. That's every day. I was successful 4 times. And I'll be honest with you, I was on bond, right? I was on bond and still wasn't ready to quit, right? I was not ready to quit. I mean, the thought hadn't even popped into my mind. Like I was so entrenched that it was like, this is just kind of what it's going to be, right? And like I said, if it had not been for going to jail, and I didn't sit idle in jail either, Noel. I sat in jail in every meeting I could get into. I would. I was sitting in meetings every day in the jail. If I wasn't there, then I was over with the guys reading the Bible. I didn't sit at the card table. I didn't do this or that. But 4 or 5, I think 5 times, you know. How about you?
3.
3.
Yeah. So I was on birth control both pregnancies, and both pregnancies I got pregnant on birth control. I was also an active heroin addict. Luckily, I found out that I was pregnant 4 weeks both times. So I quit both times as soon as I found out I was pregnant. So you're pregnant, you have fucking all day morning sickness, because that's just, morning sickness is not
Part
the
of it.
proper word. That I was just like, I was sick all day, every day. But then I was also dope sick, because now I'm getting clean. I'm laying down, and I'm getting it out of my system. So I stayed clean the entire pregnancy, the entire first year after they were both born. But my relationships were very dangerous. I was always just in a dangerous situation where I was very heavily abused. And eventually, I can't handle this shit clean. I can't handle it sober. That kicked in. And I start using again, but I never used, like my kids would be in bed, or they were too little. So I always made it a point where like I did it when they were asleep, and I was able to relax and do whatever. Or like if they went to school, I would do it and then I'd go to work. So my whole life, pretty much, I was just a very functioning heroin addict, but I sheltered my kids from it, protected them from it. They didn't even see me smoking cigarettes. Like they didn't see anything until they were much older. And then the third time I done fucked up real bad. And that's when I quit all the way. I told you about it. My friend called and she's like, hey, bring the kids over. And I was like, all right, yeah, whatever. My oldest was with my mom, and I had my youngest with me at the time. He was 3. And we went over there, and she knows that there's a very strict no fucking, no drugs around my kids ever. And I get there and I see what's going on, and I'm like, oh, we got to go. Like, I'm not having my kids around me when I'm on dope, and I'm not having my kids around you on dope. Like, that's just not okay. And, she's like, well, let's go in the basement and hang out and whatever, all the shit's upstairs, and let the kids play a bit since you're here, it'll upset the kids. And I'm like, all right, we could do that. So we go in the basement, we're hanging out, and they were watching a movie. And so we walked upstairs and we were talking, and I was like, I was kind of like shitty about it. Like, how I am and what I do. And, I don't want my kids around and blah, blah, blah. I have to drive. One line isn't going to hurt you. That famous one line ain't going to hurt you. One line turned into, I don't know what, but when it was time to leave, we were walking down the steps in the front porch to go leave, and my car was to the right. And instead of going right to the car, thank God I went left. And I don't know why, but I kept walking. And how do you not see an 8-foot fucking wooden fence? I walked right through it. And I fell. It collapsed on top of me, and I was bleeding everywhere. It was a fucking disaster. I ended up getting a ride home, and I was just very upset. Like my son, I got him in bed and did whatever I had to do, with him. But I was really pissed off at myself about it. It was just not okay. And
That's it, Matt.
today I called my parents. I said, "Hey, I have I need you guys to come over. I need to talk to you. I need help." And thank God for them.
Yeah, no, Matt.
That
One
if it was
line. What did they say? One line is too many, and all the dope is never enough.
one too many, yeah. And I was guilty of that shit too. Like, I was like queen of, oh come on, one line ain't gonna hurt. Just she'll be home in plenty of time. There's no, yeah, okay. If I didn't have my kids, as they would go to like my parents for like 2-3 weeks during the summer, and whatever was going on, if I didn't have my kids, I was partying. And it didn't matter what time of the day I was partying because there was no children, and I could afford to be an idiot and not have to worry about what I did. And so I used that line way too many times. And my friends, they always knew it was coming and they always hated it, but they used it on me, and she got me that time. And that's what happened. It was the stupidest thing I could have done. If I had gotten in my car, I'd have killed my son and I. I mean, I probably would have killed
That's a
us
divine
because
intervention, right?
thank God for the fence. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know that I saw the car. I mean, you're going down the steps and you see like, yeah, it could go to the bottom and then it goes to the left, like it curved, and I see my car, but I was just like, we're going to take a detour, the road less traveled. And that was what it was. So I laid down the next day, and my parents, they helped me, and that was it. Never went back. Well, I wanted to many times, but I've never gone back to it. I never did the cutting down, because you're supposed to like wean down. I never did that.
Right.
There's no such thing as weaning down. I didn't do any
No.
programs.
You don't
It
wean
was
up
court.
either, so.
If it was court ordered, I had to go once for court ordered, but I never did any of those programs, never did rehab, never did anything. I just always cold turkey, and that's I knew I had to do it like that. And if I decided to do anything afterwards as far as meetings, then I would, but I never did. I just needed to be clean, and that's it.
I think for me, one of the things, I mean, addiction takes everything from you, right? One of the things that it's always stripped me of is my self-awareness, right? And I don't mean just like, okay, well, there's a microphone here and there's a window here. No, like the components that make up who you are, right? Like your personality, the things of that nature. All the other times that I tried to get sober, um, even if I thought I was working the program to the best of my ability, I always was leaving something out, right? It was, well, I didn't want to tell my sponsor this because it's embarrassing, or, I don't want to tell the doctor this so that he could prescribe me the right medicine, or whatever it was. And
Right.
this time, I now every day, like I'm dealing with my character defects, right? Like I have some glaring character defects. And one that I'm just really stuck on is um, it is my inability to accept praise, which is a really
Yeah.
strong one, because as a recovering addict, we're at least once a month, we're going to find if you're clean, at least once a month, and people know your sobriety date, at least once a month, you're praiseworthy, right? So for
Mhm.
me, my issue is I don't like when people say attaboy or man, you're doing great, right? It just kind of makes me feel weird, you know? And so I've
Right.
been stuck in this sort of, back and forth with my tedious mind on how do I truly accept praise, right? And what I'm dealing with is like, I'm sober today, 22 months. Everyone that's plugged in with me that loves me, they're like, oh man, great. But at what point am I just doing what regular people do? Right? At what point do I not need a praise? Right? At what point am I just functioning on your standard American adult level and that I don't need a praise? You're a good boy, another 30 days, no drugs, no alcohol, no, you know what I mean? And my sponsor and, a lot of the people that understand what I'm going through, they're like, listen, man, you have to accept your praise, right? You can't keep people from wanting to tell you how great you're doing, right? You can't rob them of that. So
Right.
that's one of the things, and it's getting easier as time goes by. It truly is. Like the past couple of months, I've even posted like, well, today's my sober day, and it's just filled with praise. And I'm not gonna lie, April 23rd, baby. Any Pats knows it's her birthday. It gets easier, right? It gets easier, but at the same time, my tedious mind says, well, I don't want it to get too easy, right? I still want there to be, I don't want to go all in, and I don't know why, right? Like, and that's probably another character defect is I don't want to go all in where I'm like, oh, thank you so much, like, because I feel like that sort of uncomfortability with accepting praise is a little bit of who I am, right? Like I
Mhm.
don't like to receive presents during Christmas. I just want to I want to get the good feeling from giving them, right? It's sort of that in
Yeah.
its base design, right?
Hmm.
So
That's me all day, every day, and my husband hates it. But I don't like getting not like compliments. I do not. I am like I always want a second opinion
thank you, I
before I
appreciate
do
it.
anything.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, no, gifts are awkward. I want to give the gifts, just like you said. I don't want
That's
to.
it.
It's just I'm not used to it. I've never had it in my life. I've never had the compliments. I've never had anything positive. So to go from that, just trying to get through life and stay clean and do everything you have to do, to all of a sudden you're with somebody who him and his family want to give you shit every time they fucking see you, and you're this and you're that and you're
Yes.
beautiful and I love you. Just like I don't know how to fucking make it work. I don't know how to process it. It's not normal. I still don't like it, but whatever. I'm getting better at it now.
I'm trying
Luckily, my
hard. Really trying hard.
husband was like, I don't get good gifts, so just get yourself what you want. And it makes life easier. Like, do I have a spending
It
limit?
can. It can make life easier.
Yeah,
You know
much
what?
easier.
My sponsor, and I think every sponsor throughout. Sorry, I'm wandering around. I'm looking for something. I think every
Yeah.
sponsor throughout the course of all of my attempts to get sober have always told me, your sobriety is like an athlete, right? Soon as you decide you're done with it, you throw it in the closet with all the things that you don't need to use every day. And you think it's just sitting in there dormant, but no, it's in there doing squats, burpees, push-ups, sit-ups. And as soon as you feel like you want to be cute and crack that door, it comes rushing out, and now it's stronger than it ever was, right? I mean,
Yeah.
absolutely. And thank God I'm not a heroin user, and that's one of the things that I see so much of is, for instance, if you're a heroin user that uses 30 units and you quit at 30 units, 2 years later you decide you want to have a slip up, you go back to 30 units, and that's going to kill you. Right?
No, that would
You're
be
dead.
insane.
That's how overdoses happen. So
Yeah,
it's dangerous.
you think that, oh, this is what I was using, I can use it again.
I can
Absolutely
just
not.
jump right back to it. No, you cannot jump right back to it.
15 years
No.
later, clearly.
Yeah,
But
no.
when I did start using again, like even after, the whole pregnancy and, the year afterwards, I still was, and it's probably because I was snorting it, that it was that much safer-ish. But at the same time, I was still not going back to where I was. I'm not going to do a whole
Right.
bundle at one shot, like that
Right.
is just not going to happen. So I would just make, do my little lines and get back to wherever I ended up. Then I never had like a goal like to be where I was before or to be further than that or whatever. It's just I did it just because I was an idiot, and however it ended up being is how it ended up being as far as what I was using. But I do think that a big part of why I did survive it and didn't overdose is because I was not booting it. And that may very well have been a huge reason as to why, because you cannot physically shoot up the amount that you snort. It's just that will
No.
kill you.
Yeah. Yeah. I know for me, one of the biggest things that was a catalyst other than fast women was I have been diagnosed, with my psyche stuff since like 13 or 14. And I would go through these stints when I was younger where you get up on the horse, you start feeling good, everything starts looking the way it's supposed to, and your emotions, you can regulate them. And then I would say, you know what? I feel great. I don't need this anymore. I don't
Mm-hmm.
need to take these pills anymore. And most of the time, I could just ride the wave. But then life would do its lifing, and then all of a sudden, bam, now you don't have that safety net. I didn't have the safety net under me. And quite naturally, it's so what are you going to do? You're going to go out and use, right? You're going to do what you can to make yourself feel better. I never once used drugs so that I could feel worse. It's always to feel better, right? That's like the caveat, right? Like you never use like, you know what, I'm doing this in hopes that I can ruin my life and feel terrible. No, you do it to feel better. So
Yeah,
once, right? Once I was
absolutely.
really
I think this will feel like
capable,
today.
once I really understood how all of those things worked, I was, now I'm able, like I understand that there is 99% sure, assurity, I'm going to have to stay on these psych meds for the rest of my life, right?
Mm-hmm.
In order to keep the to keep the quality of life I have to stay on this medicine. Staying on that medicine, it keeps me from riding the wave. Right now, I have the choice, right? And my choice is to stay healthy. You know what I mean? And I think that was probably one of the biggest hurdles was like, I have brothers that aren't on medicine, but maybe they should be, right? Here I am, like my life is a complete landfill if I'm not on medicine, right? And my mom would say, well, guess what? Like if you had high blood pressure, you have a choice. You can take it or you can die. And that's sort of where I've landed, present day with the psych meds is like I can live the quality of life I have right now. And if I don't want to take them, I know what to expect, right? I can expect complete meltdown, misery, all of the things, So I call it, they're magic pills.
Complete meltdown. You lost me there.
Yeah.
Can't handle
No.
that.
No.
So people, I've heard a million times, why don't you just quit? Like, what's so hard about it? You don't have to use drugs. Why don't you just quit? It's not that easy. Clearly,
No.
you've never been on drugs before, and I'm happy that you've been blessed never. But why don't you just quit? Because
Hey, if it was that easy, we wouldn't need rehabs. We wouldn't need methadone, Suboxone. We wouldn't need none of that stuff, right? If it were that easy to just quit, you know?
Um, it's very hard. And so I've never done the methadone or the Suboxone or any of that, but Matt, he did. And I mean, I looked at it as I was trading one addiction for another, because I know people now that they can't get off the shit, and they've been on it for years. Well, at least I'm not doing dope, but if you traded one for another, you're not doing dope, but it's still not good for you. You're still addicted.
Right.
So I wasn't really like, I didn't do that, but I traded it for alcohol.
Thanks, Matt. Right. Something to crutch on, you know?
I needed something. Yeah.
You know, like, I know everyone's seen it, right? Like they paint it as a glorious thing, like in, you know, like Cheers, for instance, right? Where we're all, you know, like those guys, they're in there drinking because a lot of them, because they're having bad days. Some of them are in there because they're having a great day, and a little scotch and some beer is going to make it that much better, right? Like I was never one that was going to use drugs to celebrate. Like I used drugs because life was in a downward trend, and it's like, this is just, it's what I know. This will make me feel better right now. I don't have to wait up to 90 days for the medicine to start working. I can go use right now, and it's gonna fix everything. But that's the disillusionment, right? That's your addiction lying to you, telling you, hey, if you just come over here and visit with me, right, I can fix it all.
And it did, because
Right.
I was getting my ass beat on a daily, but I didn't care as much as I did when I was clean. You know, if I was like, you know, if I had a decent amount in me, you know, I still didn't love it, and I was still, you know, like it wasn't good. There was no exception. It's not an excuse, but I can't fucking handle it. Like I can't handle this shit. He's making me crazy. I'm gonna lose my fucking mind. It's like there's a hurricane and a tornado in my head at the same fucking time, and I'm just gonna, you know, I can't do this any fucking more. I don't know what to do. I need to do something, and I did. I can't handle this sober, and that always was why I continued to go back, and it sucks because I wasn't strong enough to fight that, but I was strong enough to throw hands with a dude twice my size. But I had to, because if I didn't protect myself or my kids, who the fuck was going to do it?
Right. And I think, you know, women certainly have a lot of different pressures and triggers for why they use that I think a lot of men don't have. You know what I mean? Because like I was saying before, the way I was raised is I was raised to be emotionless. Whereas it's okay for girls to cry if they scratch their knee, or if someone pulls their hair at school or whatever. It's okay for a girl to cry. And when they go through the stages of, you know, becoming a woman, I think that women have a lot of added pressure and triggers that make it harder as an addict to get clean. And so I look at some of these women that I do groups with, and, you know, meetings and stuff, and I just like, wow, right? Like you came from I thought I was in the gutter. Like, baby, you was in the gutter for real, right? Like, and I'm always so appreciative, because a lot of women have a different story than men, right? I feel like I've met a lot of men through the program they feel entitled, right? Or maybe they've plateaued in their sobriety where they become complacent, but they're still sober, right? And for men, that's a dangerous place. I could tell you, I don't know the percentage for sure, but I can tell you that usually in the meetings, in my experience, when someone throws away a decade or 2 decades of clean time, it's usually a man. right?
Mm.
The women are the ones that really hang in there. And if they, in the big book, they call it resting on your laurels. When women that in my experience, have rested on their laurels, they dig into the book, right? Or they dig into their family, or, whatever it is, whatever they can do to hold on to it. Whereas, men, especially men that have been divorced and maybe have kids, or, whatever the case may be, you go from having responsibility to not having so much responsibility. And I think that it's a lot easier, in my opinion, for men to relapse, and that's coming from my own toxic mind, right? But
I
you
don't
know
think that's off at all. I think that
no.
men, y'all have more stress and pressures than a lot of us realize. And I'm not taking that away from, like, anybody out there, any women in here, like, I've busted my ass just as good as the next one, right? And, I've been through hell. But I do know that when it comes to comparing me getting my ass beat or almost killed by my husband, and not my husband, but my ex-husband, it's much different struggle than what a man goes through, because
Absolutely.
you got to internalize everything.
Yeah, I would
And
have
that
to agree.
internalizing it makes it that much harder, especially when you have some type of history with something like a mind altering, anything, alcohol, anything.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I think that there, a lot of, I think that a lot of men, that they feel like they have to suffer in silence. And it wasn't really until in my 20s, where my addictions were really firing up, that I felt like I actually had like familial resources, where someone's like, "Hey man, if you're having a problem, you can come to me." And I'm like,
Mhm.
"Wait, wait, wait, wait. I, no, I'm already over here doing this. I don't need you anymore." Right? Um and I can tell you that in my family, they put up with me for so long, that when my sister, rest her soul, when she entered into her addiction in her late 30s or early 40s, um they had no time for it, right? They gave me all the real estate in the world, but then when she fell into it, the whole scenario was different. It was like you said, like we talked in the text, it was like immediately tough love for her, right? They pampered me through, the first almost half probably of my addiction. When she entered into her addiction later in life, it wasn't the same climate and terrain for her, right? They had enough, they've been dealing with me, off and on. And March 15th, I'll be 47. It's sad to think that I've dealt with addiction longer than I hadn't, right? Like,
That's what I say all the time.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. 45, 25 years I've dealt with addiction. And I don't count those few years here and in between that I was able to scratch together to stay sober. All of that time it all blurs together, right? So from the age of
Yeah.
20, boom, to 45, well, 44, 45, here we are, and um now my life is a lot different. Now I have people that depend on me, and I never really, even when I was out there bad and had kids and stuff, unfortunately, I didn't feel that, right?
Right.
I was so bad in my head, I didn't feel like people depended on me. Now, thank God I ever felt it. I feel it now, better late than never. Now I know people depend on me. Like, people's lives will change, not just mine, but other people's lives will change if I decide to do the wrong thing. And so,
Yeah.
I'm constantly taking inventory, right? I'm constantly taking a personal inventory of all the people in my life that, you know, weren't there before, but now they're here. All the new people that never saw the old me, but really are in love with who I am now. And the inventory is, my inventory's full, right? Like it's, for me to want anything more than what I have now, it would be gluttonous. It truly would be, you know? And I realized that I'm where I'm supposed to be today, right? I don't daydream about, well, we're, you know, if you'd have stayed playing basketball in high school, maybe you'd be over here. No, I don't know. Like I'm where I'm supposed to be at, and I am absolutely enthused with it.
I love that. I can't tell you how many times I have sat there and been like, you know, when the time comes that, you know, it's the end of the road and I'm taking my last breath,
Man.
and I'm going to be looking over my life and I don't have anything that I can brag about to myself. I'm not proud of anything. I fucking destroyed my life. Look at what I did. Look at what I went through. I went from like one thing to another to finally, like, I got when Matt and I got married, we were 38. You know, 38 years of my life like was a disaster, and it was always like all I did was fuck up. And no matter how hard I tried, I kept fucking up. Like, what was wrong with me? I didn't have to, but I did. It was like I didn't know how to do anything other than fuck up.
And you know what? It's okay to come to rest at a place where you can admit that, right? Like a lot of people, you know, even sober people that have scratched together decades, they still, you know, a lot of them, I've met them, I'm just like, yeah, that dude has 23 years sober, but don't put me in a conversation with him, just me and him. I don't, you know what I mean? Like he has glaring character defects that I don't want to deal with. I have my own, right? I have my own defects and I'm
Yeah.
working on mine, right? And I definitely, if somebody taps me on the back and like, hey man, man, you should change a little bit of what I just saw, right? Man, I am working on it right now, ASAP. I'm not waiting till tomorrow to address it. I'm gonna work on it right now. And I think that one of the things that I was really jaded about when I came back to the internet was like, I already knew what it was gonna be, Noel. It's like when you have disagreements with
Yeah.
people on the internet, the first thing they want to do is, he's not sober. He didn't find God. I'm not wearing a I'm not celibate. I'm not a preacher. You know what I mean? I'm mainly like everyone else. Sometimes my head
You
is a
have
little
no
thicker,
idea
maybe.
how much money you cost me, motherfucker, calling that probation officer. If I could flick you in the nose, I would. Oh my
Sick
God.
thinking.
Hell yeah. Do you, it's
Sick thinking.
so random. You know, piss test a month turns into fucking 5 in a week. Bro, they're $50 a pop. Motherfuckers need to stop. I became good friends with that probation officer real fast. I'll tell you what. I'm like, I'm done with this shit. How many times are
And
you
I
gonna test him? It's been a week,
right.
5 times. He's coming every time.
And you know what? Matt told me too when I came back, he was like, you're gonna deal with it, right? It's gonna happen to you. And it did. And he said, what's gonna happen is it's gonna draw you and you know your supervisor closer together. And that's what it did. Right? It actually, so you know, but that's one of the things I was like, you know, how am I gonna feel when the first person tells me that I haven't found God, I'm not working an honest program, and I'm not sober, right? Like how am I gonna feel? And it's actually become a vehicle to push me up higher, right? It's like, okay, um, I'm not a saint. I'm not here saying I'm a saint. I'm here saying that I'm sober. I found God. He was right where I left him, right? Thank God. I
Just
knew the road
clear.
back to find him, and I'm working an honest program. Outside of that, like whatever whatever somebody with a little circle profile with a daisy that says, red rump roaster or whatever. I don't care what they think. I really don't. And,
Mm.
I'm not going to say that I don't visit portions of YouTube where, there's a lot of drama and people absolutely like one comment makes them fire up a live stream. Like I used to be like
Mhm.
that and I don't care anymore. Right. Um, that's
Yeah.
that's it. They're helping build an awkward relationship where they're like, hey, you you have this fundamental right to be able to say whatever. And I don't come here and do no cussing. I'm not nothing like I was before. I don't come here and do no cussing. I'm not a lot of things that I used to be. And so it's completely impossible for these people to affect my real life once we get to that sort of molecular level with the PO and myself, right? Thank you, Rivers. And so
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
The PO, if as long as you are good and honest and you are upfront with them, like when I tell you, like she gave me her cell phone, we were talking all the time. The only one time she didn't call me, she called him, was like, I don't know what happened, but I was told that you and Noel got into a huge fight, and you went out with some chick into a bar, and you guys were drinking, and you're doing fentanyl and all this other shit. And I'm not calling Noel over, like, no, because she didn't know, like, if it was true or not. But she was like, no, Noel's gonna kill me and you if But he's like, I just took my piss test yesterday. He's
right.
like, call Noel. Like, I don't care. But that was the only time she didn't call me. But it got to the point where she's like, so I got her the call. And then we were just talking, and it just was like stupid. I'm like, I was happy eventually. Like, I think we ended up taking like 7 to 10 YouTube call-in piss tests before I finally was like, I'm going to be her best fucking friend, because this is I can't afford this. It's bullshit. So were you ever scared using?
Um, yeah, I think so. It wasn't even when I was using it intravenously, because so I was able to put together some time, and like when I left, the price was up here. I came back and I take the same money. I'm like, hey man, like I fell off, here I am, like, here's $100. And he hands me a wad like this, and I'm like, whoa, 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 wait, 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 wait. I just want $100. He's like, yeah, no, that's $100 now. And he's like, yeah, $100 used to be this much. It's this much now. And I was like, whoa, this is gonna be a problem. You know what I mean? And before it was, you had a financial constraint, right? You could only go as far as the money would take you. Now, I don't know how it is anywhere else in America, but I know here in Texas, like if you have $200, like you have enough to go to prison forever. You can get 2 ounces with 200. It's 100 an ounce, right? Before it was 1,200 an ounce, right? So when economically it became so easy to get, yeah, I was scared. I was like, this is like the beginning of the end. And I went
Mhm.
into it knowing that, okay, right, like we're gonna ride this thing. You know what I mean? And I did. And if it weren't for if it wasn't for YouTube intervening, because I had I had a YouTube intervention. YouTube jumped in, and I chose at the right point to do the right thing, which was go turn myself in. I didn't run forever. I just turned myself in, dealt with the consequence like a man, and from there really just told myself like I'm not going to continue the madness. I'm not. you know um I refuse to. I have too much to offer, first of all, my family, but I have too much to offer as an individual. I have a service heart, right? Like probably I have a brother that's a cop, right? And like I have the same kind of heart that he does. My mother was a nurse, my dad was in the military. So I have, I was raised kind of with that service heart. And once I got sober, it was just sort of that evolution into finding not a job, but a career that allowed me to express my service heart. And to me, it's meant the world. It means all the difference. I protect that position, like you would protect anything that's super, super important to you, everything to you, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No,
Yeah.
absolutely. You have to have you have to have a lot of things that are important and matter, but in your heart.
That's
It
it.
doesn't matter if it's not like a strong value and moral and important to you in your heart, it's not going to stick.
No,
That's what
and
I
for me, what came with that was, um, I had to shuck off a bunch of people from the music scene. That was really always like, entering doom, right? It's, I have a vast network of artists and rappers and singers, and a lot of them are not doing the right thing. And it's very easy to, acquire whatever you're looking at. And so, or looking for rather. And so for me, it was a no-brainer, right? Like, yeah, I'll take your call and I'll say hello. But some of them, like, you don't have enough money to hire me to do music videos for you or to do studio sessions with you. Like, you just don't have enough, right? I
right,
refuse to go back to that. So,
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that
So,
also it's a little bittersweet too for me because, my sister, she died as a result of her addiction. And I wished that she could see the light at the end of the tunnel and realize that, how good life will be, not can be, how good life will be, once you get on the right side of it.
that was a few years back, right? I remember when that
Yeah,
happened.
that was 20 December of 2022. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember when that happened. You and Matt were still going at each other back and forth pretty bad. That was the beginning of it.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
what what is it like to live clean? Was it hard for you to adapt? And is it still a struggle, or are there still
No,
triggers?
no, I have things that will trigger frustration or anger, but I have such a tool bag of resources, right? My coping mechanisms, my anger resolution stuff. I have so many tools at my disposal now that, with those tools, knowing I have them, a lot of times I can see a situation coming. I'm like, okay, that person just talked to me a certain kind of way. It's not about me, it's them,
Mhm.
right? Like, okay, so they don't need me to tell them F them. What they need me to do is turn around and go the other way. And so now, the coping mechanisms, and a huge thing for me was the conflict resolution, right? Because I'm a lot like Matt, right? Like, I probably would, not now, but 2 years ago, yeah, I fist fight you in a second. I don't have no problem with that.
Mhm.
Now I'm not that way, right? Like, you would have to back me into a corner and make me fight my way out of it. Like, I'm over here, right? Like, I'm not going to allow that vibration to disturb my peace. I just refuse to. You know, I
Right.
won't. I refuse to.
So, I have. It's been a really hard couple of years for me with health issues and everything else, and just a whole shit ton of everything. Kind of just always seems to always happen at once. But I had heard of this quite a while ago, and actually, Pat's, if you're still in here, she had reminded me again the let them theory.
The what?
Let them theory, like let
Okay.
them. If let them think what they want to about you, say what they want to about you, let them, think, do whatever. They know what they're doing. They are doing it to hurt you. They're doing it to get a reaction, whatever. But it doesn't have anything to do with me. It's not my fucking business. Let
Right.
them be them. Let them do them. Just let them so that I can let me. And by doing this, I have been able to say, fuck it. And I practice it all the time. The last 2 years, I've been just focusing on that, more and more and trying to get better at that because I'm not perfect. Things do still bother me. I have
Mhm.
feelings. Unfortunately, they do get hurt, but
Mhm.
I'm able to be more at peace with myself when I just remember, like, let them. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter
Yeah.
what they think or what they say. They want to intentionally try to hurt me, but they don't have to hurt me unless I give them that power. And no one is worth my peace.
No. No, it's not. I mean, I think that I'm finally to a point where I used to chase things that I felt would make me happy, right? And then it was a stark realization to understand that, happiness is always fleeting, right? Even money can't buy it and keep it, but peace is sustainable, right? You can sustain your peace. You can work as you hard as you want to, and you can't maintain happiness. And I'm not happy every day, but I'm always peaceful, right? Like I refuse to let anyone in to disrupt my peace, you know?
Right.
Absolutely refuse.
Absolutely. No. Uh, it, if you are able to destroy my peace, then I have to reevaluate myself again because
Yeah,
I'm the only one that can destroy my peace. Now, there's
that's it.
struggles, stress, but that's just normal everyday life shit. It's not anything from anybody else. When I got clean, it was hard for me because I grew up a heroin addict. I was
Right.
11 when I started using, and I was
Let me ask you this. How does someone even live with themselves understanding that they turned somebody on at 11? Right? Like how do you still have contact in any way with this person?
no, no. We kept in contact on and off over the years, but no, I don't have I don't have any friends. I don't talk to, I talk to you, I talk to a few people, but that's it. Like I don't when I say I don't have friends, it's not a joke. I don't, and there's reasons for it. When I came back home, I was looking forward to what I left because in your head, you still expect home and the people to be what it was when you left. They were going to be the same. And I came back to everybody I knew was on drugs. They were stealing. They were just fucking deplorable people. And I was just very upset and disappointed. It
And you went
was,
to New York, right?
I lived
Out
up in New
east?
Jersey and then in
New Jersey.
Pennsylvania.
That's right. Okay.
I live towards New York State, like up in the mountains in Pennsylvania, all the way up. I was 3 hours south of Canada.
Wow.
So I was up there. Yeah. But no, it was hard. I immediately had horrible anxiety to the point like I would curl up in my closet and I would hide in the closet on the floor. Uh I don't know myself as an adult. I don't know who I am. I have to learn who Noel is, not on drugs. how to work, not on drugs, how to drive, not on drugs, how to talk to a person, not on drugs, how to shop, how to function. I had to learn how to be alive because I didn't know how to be alive. I think I was 11, and I think I was 27 when I quit, like done. And I was having anxiety attacks. People thought I was on drugs when I was clean because they didn't know who I was. I didn't know who I was. So it was just an impossible situation. I almost considered using again because I only knew how to survive that way. I mean, I wasn't having anxiety attacks and breaking down and freaking the fuck out every 5 minutes. I was able to sleep. All of a sudden I have insomnia. Uh, I can't like to breathe. It was almost like weird. Like it was just, it's not normal. It's not normal to be that new person, and to learn how to do that as an adult in your, almost 30 years old. It's just, holy shit. It was like whiplash.
Yeah.
And it was scary. It was very scary. So it was a lot for me. It was a lot of stress and very hard. And then I had to live the trauma that I had gone through while
Now
I
you
was,
have to actually face it and absorb, you know, the journey.
yeah. Because when you're high, all those ass beatings you took, they go away. You forget them. All the words, you don't remember them. Now all of a sudden you hear them. It's just there, and you can't make it stop.
Yeah.
My husband tried to kill me. My ex-husband, if it wasn't for my friend, I'd be dead. She heard him screaming, "Shut the fuck up, just die." And she comes running into the bathroom. And so the way the bathroom is, the toilet was like right there, the shower's to the left, and then my washer and dryer was to the right. And he's holding me in the toilet, my face, trying to drown me in a toilet filled with piss, like his own piss. He's trying to kill me. And she just jumps up on this washer and she kicked him as hard as she could into the shower and just grabbed me and dragged me out of the bathroom. And I'm just like, but now all of this shit's coming back. And I'm just like, oh my God. So all of that and everything else, and now I'm clean, and why? Like, why? What did I get clean for? For me to have to struggle and to cry and be scared and be upset and disappointed because I can't figure out how to be a normal human being off drugs. It's just not normal. People don't struggle with talking or going to work or fucking shopping or anything. I get in a car and I'm like, I know where the things are, but now I got to use the things and make the car go. And I'm not on any drugs. So now I have to figure out how to do it again. And it's just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
It was just terrible. It was a terrible situation. And no matter how happy I was to be clean, and no matter how I was never going to go back to using again, and everything else, and my goals and what I wanted, and just, I just had to figure it out because I was crashing and burning before I even gave myself a real chance to do it. I didn't know. It was a sense of nonstop, never ending panic. And I was scared all the time. I was always scared. It was
I
terrible.
think
It was terrible.
for me, there was like a series of events that happened in my situation. And, um, my situation, um, it had to do with some serious solitude, right? Some very, very secured housing unit solitude. And I was able to convince someone, and I have the Bible, it's right here. I was able to convince someone um to give me a Bible. And this Bible was, here it is right here. This Bible right here. I was able to convince somebody to give me this Bible when she shouldn't have. She could have been written up and lost her job behind this Bible. She gave me this Bible,
Oh
and
my gosh.
it's the New Testament, and it's been through a war. But I read this Bible front to back in, I don't know, like a week. And then I read it again. And then I was able to get an Old Testament, which that stayed there. But I read the Old Testament twice. And then when I was moved away from the solitude, I read the Quran. I read everything that I could get my hands on. And I sort of just dove into my spirituality. And I really sort of embodied the idea that it's I'm chasing progress, not perfection, right? It's to be even if it's just a little brighter shade, better version of myself tomorrow than I was today. If I could just polish one thing, I don't have to do it all. I don't have to do it all today so that tomorrow is, something that it will never be, right? I'm just chasing progress. And that's an easy thing to track, right? You can look back and say, well, man, in this situation, I would have done this X, Y, or Z. Now today, I'm doing ABC, right? So for me, it was like I was forced into these scenarios that just fall in line with the principles of the 12 steps. And I'm not so naive to think, I mean, you're living proof that you don't have to cling to the rooms and the AA books and the workbooks and all. You don't have to do that to stay sober. I just identified that the kind of addict that I am, I can't do it like that. I have to talk to my God. I have to speak with other people that, they know where the solution is. I also occasionally, sometimes once a week or more, I have to go to a newcomers group and listen to newcomers fumble around and destroy it to say, to understand that, okay, I'm in a good place. I'm in a really good place, and I'm going to protect that at all costs, right? There's nothing that's going to come before that. My girl, she knows, like, if I say no, I mean no. If I say I'll call you later on, that doesn't mean call me in 5 minutes. It means wait for me to call you. If I say, hey, I need a minute, like, give me a minute. She's gonna give me all the minutes I need, right? So
Right.
um for that, I'm really grateful because she's very understanding, and she's but she's considerably younger than I am, but she's very mature for her years. And I'm very grateful for her presence in my life because she makes it attainable. She makes it accessible to have a healthy relationship without without dreading the toxic, right? Like, you know, other relationships, you're like, man, I know it's in there. I've heard her say it before. Like, I'm just waiting. Like, no, she really allows me. We're very complimentary of each other. If I need her to lead me, she will. If she needs me to lead her, I will. So I'm blessed in all those ways. I'm really blessed. Now, look, family didn't even want me around, baby. Now they won't let me leave. They say, no, you aren't going anywhere. You're staying right here. So here I am. It's a
It
blessing.
works.
It
Don't
works.
ruffle their feathers. It works. They're happy. Um, I think that out in such an amazing way for you, but in so many different amazing ways. That I think that on top of you and your strength and your beliefs and everything else that you have going for inside your head and your heart, you have just a beautiful, wonderful support system. And even like your old lady who isn't, old, but she's your old lady. She's amazing and she's beautiful and she tolerates your good and she tolerates your bad and you're annoying and you're funny. And like, I always say Matt tolerates me very well. I'm lucky. I've always said I'm very lucky he tolerates me so well because I can be difficult. Surprise, surprise. Believe it or not,
No way,
I can be difficult.
Jose. You don't say.
Like, you have to be a very strong man to be my man. And it's just because of everything I've gone through in my life that I don't know how to not. Matt said no comment. I don't know how to not. When he moved in with me, we were emptying out some drawers and he's tossing knives, like pocket knives and shit on the bed. And there's this huge pile and he stops. I don't know how many there were at this point. And he's holding one and he's like, can I ask you a question? I'm like, what's up? He's like, what's with all the knives? I'm like, I don't know. I like knives. Like, was this a test? Like, what the fuck? But I always carried knives. I was, like he's literally watched me chase a man down the road with a knife in my hand. So we've had problems to where like he was always like, you have to stop. You have to stop. Just let me take care of the men. Like if a man fucks with you, you don't have to get in their face. Like you don't need a chest bump no one. You know what I mean? You're like, yeah.
Like it's it's a drawer full of Noel's need to protect herself.
But I had to, and he didn't understand. Just like he didn't understand when he was moving around and doing things. I'm flinching. I didn't have to. I knew I didn't have to, but I did because in my body, I'm still reacting to he's a big man and he's moving and it's fast and I don't, I have to be ready and protect myself. Just like if somebody comes up and man or woman and they come at me like, bro, what's up? Like, we can do this right now. Like, I don't care. And he was always like, he started out decently, like polite, like, please stop. Let me handle it. Please. Someone's going to hurt you. You can't beat up every man. Like I've done pretty damn good for most of my life. And he's like, okay, but you got to, let me handle it. To the point where he's like, you're never going to fucking listen. You got to stop. He's like, I'm handling some bullshit. All of a sudden somebody comes in and they're like, your old lady just ran out the door chasing some guy down the road with a knife in her hand. He's like, what the fuck? What if he took a knife from you and he killed you or he hurt you? I was like, well, he's not gonna do that. How do you know? I'm like, because he's fucking running. I'm like, that's how I know.
You hadn't thought that far ahead yet.
Like, what do you want? He's like, you are going to be the reason I go back to prison. And that's when I stopped. Okay, I'm listening now. You have my full attention. I promise. He's like, if someone touches you, if they hurt you, if they kill you, do anything, I am going to have to kill them. And then I'm going to be in prison for the rest of my life, all because you won't fucking listen. Stop, blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, okay, stop yelling at me. I will not do it again. And at that point, I stopped carrying knives for quite a while. I didn't. There was one more time after that. I'm not going to lie. There was one more, but that dude deserved it. Other than that, it was done. And that was just the way it is. I had to respect the fact that he's the man, right? And it's not the whole like man, woman, dick, no dick, whatever. Like, yeah, whatever. No, it's that he has a certain set of morals and values and a way of like, he protects me. I don't have to protect myself anymore, even though my
You can
brain
fall into that,
weird
yeah.
protect.
Yeah.
I had to remember that I needed to rethink everything, because it's no longer now that I'm fighting for my children and for me and to survive. It's that I have somebody who will fight for me should that ever have to happen, and I need to just allow it. We're on the side of the road with a fucking busted tire, and I'm pulling all the shit out, and I'm breaking the lug nuts, and he's like, stop, like, what? And he's like, I'll do it. And I looked at him like, you know how to change a tire? I'm not used to men knowing.
Lady, get back in the car.
I'm not used to men knowing how to use tools, let alone change a fucking tire. Okay.
Right.
I'm not used to like a man, it's just not normal. It's not natural. They're all fucking bitches. Some, like my ex-husband, the one that tried to fucking kill me, comes home from work early one day, and I'm building some shit. I'm like, yo, can you get me a screwdriver, please? It was like 11:30. He's like, isn't it a little bit early to drink? I was like, never mind, I got it. Like, okay, so it was not normal for me. So when I said, you know how to change a tire, I sounded snarky. I know I did, but it was like, what the fuck? You're gonna break it more, And he's like, he just looked at me like, yeah, I got this. Okay. And so he, I started to just realize that he was completely different from, and I knew he was, but I went from best friends
you hadn't been introduced to all the things that he
yeah,
knows.
like I do most of the things, but not all the things. And so the adjustment phase of now being with him from everything else I've experienced was just completely different. So it was nice, but it was difficult because I am, everyone has the fight or flight, but I only have fight. I don't know how to just walk away and cry and run away. And I've never been that person. I was in auto mechanics in high school because I was never going to be that little girl on the side of the road, damsel in distress, waiting for a man to change a tire or to do whatever. So when it comes to mechanic work, like I'd rather do my own. He moved in, I had a shit ton of tools. He thought it was my ex's. I'm like, they're mine.
Where'd you steal these from?
I come with tools. They are mine. don't lose them.
I see it. I see it multiple times a week. It's this new generation. And when I say that, I'm going to be 47 next month. So even these guys that are 30 and 35, you'll pull up and they got like their feet on the dash and they're looking at their phone. Meanwhile, their lady is out there pumping the gas. You know what I mean? And it's like, bro, what are you doing? Like, I don't even know if my lady knows how to pump gas.
Beautiful. She's a princess. She how, but she shouldn't have to. She is really a princess.
She shouldn't. That's it. She don't pump no gas. Come on. She don't even pay for no gas.
Right? Well, the fuck should I put my gas? Yours. I was changing the brakes and rotors on my Trailblazer. I had this years and years ago. And the fucking dipshit that I was eating at the time was sitting, like he flipped a bucket upside down and he's sitting on it. And he's watching me change the brakes and the rotors. And then he's like, when I'm all done and everything's good, I'm putting it away. He's like, I know how to change brakes. And I'm like, oh, you do? He's like, yeah, I just don't like to. I'm like, why is that? He's like, because something always goes wrong whenever you do it. I'm like, well, that's because you don't have fucking
don't know how.
It took me like 20 fucking minutes. and you're telling me because something always goes wrong, you fucking moron. Shut up before I hit you with the bucket you were sitting on.
It sounds about right. Matt hit it on the head. Like chivalry is dead. Like we really. How did you and Matt meet? Did you meet like you didn't meet online? Did you? Or did you?
Mm-mm.
You met in the world.
We were 12 years old.
Oh yeah,
Matt
you did tell
loved
me this. Yeah.
to tell the story, and he told it at our wedding. But we were 12 years old, and I was his first girlfriend ever. And I broke his heart, blah, 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 blah.
Wah, wah.
That line. So yeah,
But he's
that's how.
patient. He's patient.
And then, of course, fuck. No,
What happened?
we went our own ways, and fucking motherfucker, I got you. When we ended up going our own ways, you know, I was already using dope at the time, and so I was dating the guy that lived across the street from me, and he was best friends with my best friend's brother. So he was, you know, coming around. Then they were playing football together, and we were always hanging out. And so the guy that I was dating, the kid, he and I broke up like over and over again. It was, you know, 12-year-old. Fucking no one needs to be in a long-term relationship at any age when you're that young, right? So you were 38 when you married me. Dumb. He
typical.
He said I married her at 35. We were 38.
You were just operating at a 35-year-old level. That's
I
all.
don't really. It works though, because still to this day he tells everyone he's 3 years younger than he is. So in his mind he was 35.
That's it.
He was you know, he was so cute and fucking annoying. God, he was so annoying. Tall, skinny kid, annoying as hell. It's just as annoying as he is now, but he's not skinny anymore. I went off, did my own thing, whatever. He went off, did his own thing. He actually blames me. Yes, rest in peace, Kenny. He the boyfriend that I had been dating, he overdosed, and he died in October of 2016. And then I came home in December of 16. And then we got together, like we hung out in January of 17. And then he moved in with me at the end of November of 2017. So that's how that happened. But he likes to say that I broke his heart. And then that's the reason that he took the road, you know, that he took because of me breaking his little fragile 12-year-old heart. But I wasn't any good for him at that time. He's home, so that's why she's barking. I wasn't good for him or anybody. He was a good kid. He was a good, you know, he had like this giant heart bigger than his whole body was, you know, and he was just sweet and innocent. And I was at 12, I was already a heroin addict. And I couldn't give anybody anything. Not anything good, not anything positive. And I wasn't going to be the reason he started using. So we ended up going, you know, our own separate ways, doing whatever. He actually caught me. He called and he's like, "Do you want to go to a movie?" And I'm like, "I can't. I have plans." And I was getting ready. And he calls my friend. And my friend's like, whatever to him. And then he calls me back. I'm like, "For fuck's sakes." And he's like, "I thought you said blah, 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 blah." He's like, "But you're really, da, da, da." I'm like, "You got me." Like, what do you want me to say? You caught me, for fuck's sake. But that was how it was. Hey, baby.
What's up, man?
Hope you're doing well. I'll tell you one thing. He has the same problem I have. We have huge hearts with ears to match. They kept telling me, "You'll grow into them." No, I never grew into them. I just keep them tucked inside my hat.
I never noticed you had ears, like, you know,
I
Um,
have huge ears. I got my mom's ears.
that's funny. I don't I don't know where his ears came from. I guess his dad. Must
They came
be.
from somewhere.
It had to.
Mhm.
When I was up north in Pennsylvania, I just was filing for a divorce and everything. It was right before I got arrested. It was in October. He had gotten out of prison in August, and I had uh, filed for divorce. And I posted a picture on Facebook, and he just hit me up on Messenger. And then I'm just like, hey, what's up? Blah, blah, blah. And we started talking. And that was in 2015. So we just fell back into like a really good, friendship routine, and we were
Mhm.
best friends. And then I came home, and here we are.
That was one of the defining things
What?
for me too, was
Okay.
that
It's okay.
I didn't meet her online. I met her in the world, and there's still sort of that, like he said, chivalry, right? Like you have to do different things when you meet someone organically in the world. There's not already this preconceived notion where if you, not saying there's anything wrong with meeting anyone online at all, because I have, right? But with
Mhm.
her, it was, we were, we had to get on one accord. I feel like when you meet someone online, a lot of times you both already want the same thing, right? There's already, with all the hookup sites, Tinders, and all the things, like two people are already looking for the same thing. Gang, gang. When you meet someone organically, you have to draw into each other, and I think that, that's why my relationship has been successful, because we don't always want the same thing, right?
Right.
It's okay for her to want something on the left hand when I want something on the right hand. Whereas when you start interweaving these cyber relationships together,
Hmm.
it's, yeah, it's destined to fail, in my opinion. Now, I'm also not here to tell you that you can't meet the love of your life online. I'm not here to tell you that. But
Mhm.
I think that it comes with a new set of issues, and that's in my experience. I'm not saying that, it is the grail, but um, I kind of like with you and Matt, right? Like, she knows all about my history, right? It's impossible for her to go on YouTube and not see the whole history of Benny Keyz, right? And she loves me in spite of those things, right? She could see the growth as well, right?
Mhm.
So it's a beautiful thing, it's a real beautiful thing.
It is because she accepts you for all
Absolutely.
of that, all of the good, bad, horrible, better, whatever. But it's not even that she accepts you for all of that. She knows you for who you truly are.
That's
So
it.
it's easier for her
100%.
overlook anything that you may be like embarrassed of, or wish you didn't do, or whatever, like your feelings about anything that you may have said or done in the past may be. She can look at you and overlook it and be like, but it's not who you are. Like, I know in your heart, like in my heart, I know who you are as a whole. You're not that. And
Right.
it's easier for her to be more forgiving and offer grace to you than it is for you
Absolutely.
to yourself.
And I could honestly say, at almost 47, it's the only relationship in the whole history of me that I started with all truths. Like, this woman, I would say it because she's watching. I would say that she could not tell you, she could not tell you one thing that I've lied to her about. Right? She knows the phone goes off all times of the day and the night, and she knows it's always going to be a woman. Matt would be like one of the few guys that, and she's not messed up about it, right? She knows that I'm with her, I'm here for her, right? I have a lot of lady friends, and she's not messed up about that. She's not, what's the word I'm looking for? She's not threatened by that, right?
Mhm.
And she accepts me as I am, faults and everything, and Again, like we have a relationship, Rhonda. We have a relationship that is complete. I'm like, man, tell me the truth, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, she's quite a bit younger than me, but tell me the truth, right? And so, in that respect, I'm able to lead her into a place where it's all honesty. Like, I don't have no reason to lie to you, right? You don't have no reason to lie to me, and we're just gonna move forward with that,
That's so being 18 hours away when he and I reconnected, you really can't do much of anything, right? And I'm not, and he's not one of those people that are gonna pretend to romanticize some type of bullshit long distance relationship. Because at the end of the night, I'm not gonna be able to cuddle with a phone, and I wanted
right?
more than, and he did too. I'm not afraid to say like I enjoyed being a whore. Like that's just what it was. I had fun, and he had fun, and he enjoyed
Hmm.
it. And so for us to be able to talk all the time and be friends and whatever it was and be each other's support system was huge. But we couldn't be more than that because it was always through phone or video and whatever. But we used to play like the game, like just random questions, because it
Hmm.
had been so long since we have seen each other at that point. So what like stupid things like what's your favorite color, what's your favorite flower,
Hmm.
what's anything, just to get to know each other. And we would do this, I mean, for hours. I don't know, every night we would just random question, and it helped bring us closer to getting to know each other better. So that was huge for us. And then when we were in the same state, he was about 3 hours from me in Miami. And we discussed getting together ish, but it wasn't really like I said, I don't need a boyfriend. I have you. And he was like, what? And I'm like, I have you. Like, if I want to get laid, I can go out and get laid, but I don't need a man. If I want to talk to somebody, I have you. Like, you're my best friend. You're my go-to. I'm your go-to. Like, we know everything there is to know about each other. And if I have a problem or if I just feel like having one of those talks, that's what I can hit you up and vice versa. And that kind of triggered the idea. And it became like a little thing where like we joked about it, but I didn't ever think it was going to happen because the idea was nice. Like I loved the idea of it, but I was scared to do it because I'm
Hmm.
not going to lose a relationship. I'm going to lose my best friend and a boyfriend.
Right. Hmm.
And I don't, at that point now, I no longer have you in my life whatsoever because we can always, people, you want to say like, we'll still be friends no matter what. No, bullshit. I don't want to be your fucking friend.
Yeah, and
Like
it very
that's just
rarely
it.
happens that way. Very
It's
rarely.
very hard. Yeah. And I don't see the problem is with us is even if we were to end and divorce and do our own thing, at some point, something's going to happen where one of us is calling the other person anyway. So
Right.
there would, no matter how much we tried to move on and do whatever, we could hate each other, but we'd always be there for each other if that ever came about. And so I
Even if it's
really
just a
don't,
busted tire.
even if I needed my tire changed, I don't know how it would work out. I just
Or you need him
know
to hand you a screwdriver.
my screwdriver. I just don't, I was afraid. So we talked a lot before even getting into, the relationship. Because the number one reason for failed relationship is unmet expectations. And I
Absolutely.
already knew what I wanted and what I expected in life. And I was happy being single. Like I did not need to do anything more than what I was doing. And for him to, step into my life like that, I needed to know that we were on the same page and he did as well, because
Mhm.
we both knew how much was riding on make it or break it. Like
Everything.
you lose everything that we
Amen.
had. And we weren't about to let that happen. So we talked, about everything. What do you want? What are your goals? Where are you at this point in life? Like, I'm clean. I don't want any drugs around me. Are you clean? Are you able to commit to that? Shit like that. And then we got together, and we both have a lot of exes and a lot of not exes, but people. So we gave each other, like, I'm like, if somebody has seen you naked in your phone, like, get rid of them on Facebook, right? And so I did the same. And then we traded phones because we know each other, we know each other's friends. So now if you don't like someone and on my phone, you get rid of them, and I'll do the same for you. So now we're doing that. So he's getting rid of all his, ex whatevers. I got rid of mine, and now we're doing it ourselves. And it was just a matter of, like, you have to be comfortable and know that you can trust me at all times. So before he even moved in with me, I sent him all my passwords to whatever I had, because I had nothing to hide. Go look through all my shit. Don't care. And it just became a thing where, like, knowing each other as good as we did, and the fact that we did a lot of shit, and that we knew about it. Like, what are you doing tonight? I'm going out to get laid. Oh, cool. Right. So you had to have, like, a really strong foundation and trust. And that was something that I wasn't willing to put up to the test. Like, to this day, I've still never been alone in a room with another man. And I told him that from the beginning, and I still won't, because even though nothing's going to happen, you leave that what if, and I don't allow what ifs. You're never going to have to worry or wonder. And that's just the way it was. So
I agree, Matt. It is like my lady made the mistake, and I call it a mistake. She made the mistake. Now, I have my iPad and my iPhone. They're clones of one another, right? So everything that's on this is on this. She made the mistake of getting on my iPad one night without asking me. All she had to do was ask. And I could tell she had gotten on, and I'm like, "What's up?" She's like, "Nothing." Like, I felt like she was disappointed there wasn't something on it. Yeah, it's like, sorry, there's nothing to see here. Keep going. But I think we have something. It's kind of like that. Like, she would, if I say, "Here, give me your phone. Let me do this on your phone." It's never like that. Well, never, and so it's not quite as deep as what you've done. And I like the idea, because it does it in a digital world, right? You're laying out your digital, your whole digital life. Like, here, dig in. You don't like something, I'm willing to do away with it, and I think that's a beautiful thing. In a digital world, that's how you instill trust from the very beginning. Like, hey, I'm not going to lay my phone this way, or I'm not going to hide it, or do weird shit. No, like, you can get into it anytime. Like, no problem.
Yeah. And that was always the thing. So, like, if one of us was driving, the other one, like, co-pilot. So, like, if I was driving, got a text, he'd read it, respond, or vice versa. That's, it was always like, whatever. It doesn't matter. Grab a phone, whichever one, doesn't matter. Use it if you want to look something up. There was never any of that. I didn't give a shit. He didn't give a shit. There was nothing to hide. And that was just a thing from the beginning that we needed to make it a point to just do, because how do you know everything about me and I know everything about you? We know all each other's dirt, and now you and I are going to get into a relationship. Meanwhile, you know everything and I know everything, and now here we are at this point where, how do we make this so that it's fail proof? Because I don't want to create a relationship. I want to create the relationship, like the perfect relationship. And I don't want it to go away. And that's just what it has to be, no matter what. Like, you guys, you know about when he wanted to take me to meet some friends of his, and he didn't realize they were using again. I told this a long time ago. And one of the people there we walk in and they're like, hey, how's it going? Blah, blah, blah. And like, I'm like, I've been here 5 minutes. There's people shooting up. There's people like, what the fuck is going on here? And somebody walks up and she puts something in my hand. I look at it and it's a fucking cap. And it's a heroin, for anybody who doesn't know what a cap is. And I just looked at it and I closed my fist, like squeezed it so tight, and I started shaking. And I looked at him and I don't even know if I was breathing at that point. I turned around and I just speed walked out the front door into the parking lot of their apartment. And I'm just like, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Like, holy shit. This is like 9 years ago. And I'd been clean a long time at that point. And I'm holding it in my hand. And I'm like, what do I want to do? What am I going to do? Why am I feeling like this? Like, holy shit. He chased me out the house. He's like, what's wrong? And I'm just standing there like, and I'm crying, like crying. And he's like ugly cry. He was like, what is wrong? And I couldn't open my hand. I'm like, and I went like that. And he looked and he saw it and he's like, okay, what do you want me to do? And I just looked at him and I said, help me. And he took it and he ran in the house and he came back out. He's like, do you want to leave? I'm like, I gotta go. Time to go. But most people would be like, well, why would he be like, what do you want? What do you want to do with it? What do you want me to do? Like, they would just be like, oh, take it or whatever. But he doesn't know what to do because he'd never seen me in that situation. He didn't know how I was going to react. I could have gotten angry. I could have, who knows? I didn't know. And so he just had to tread lightly and like try to see how he could help me without, I guess,
You gotta
trying
check your
to
temperature.
overpower me, and
Right.
like, and so he did it the right way. It's not that he should have done it differently because he didn't know what to expect. And he had never seen that with me before. And with it being so long, at that very point in my life, in my sobriety, I realized that I don't think it matters how much time passes. I can never have that around me.
No.
And that was, like I said, 9 years ago. But I don't know if I would be any different now than I was then with that situation.
That's deep.
So
I know that my spidey senses are like so much stronger now. I see and meet a lot of different people every single day, for usually the same reasons, right? A lot of them are having the worst day of their life. And I come across them and they come in all different shapes and sizes and socioeconomic classes. And it sometimes I chuckle at myself, like, there were times when I thought nobody knew, right? Like, I'm using, but nobody knows. And I can see, I can look at people and be like, yep, that's one of them right there. I can point them out. You know what I mean? Like, that person right there has done XYZ before they got here, or they're getting ready to go do XYZ. And to be able to identify them, not stereotype them, but to actually be able to identify them is for me to be able to kind of put a shield up, right? Like, yeah, no, I don't want to talk to that guy. He's trying to get my attention, but I don't want to talk to him because I know what he's up to. Whereas before, when you're happy go lucky and you're blinded by your addiction, you go talk to anybody. That's how we network, right? That's how we all network, right? We think we're looking for like-minded people. Now I am looking to avoid someone who is like what I used to be. You know what I mean? And
we
I've
spent
learned
so much time looking for those people. That's how we
That's it.
got around and had the access that we had. That's how we know. Like, people, how do you know? Just by, we kind of were trained. We knew what to look for.
Yeah,
We knew.
that's a part of it. So and I think one of the things that's, I won't say disappointing, but it makes me sad sometimes when I dig into these workbooks I have and um messing with my journals and I'm looking back at all the work that I've done over the past almost 2 years. Um, I mean, when I tell you, like, just page after page after page of just journaling, you know what I mean? And
Mhm.
when I go back and read them, I'm like, this is a guy that has all the tools, right? I have the tools to succeed. And, I'm so thankful for those, right? But
Right.
those
Mhm.
tools were available every single time I tried to get sober.
Yeah.
This isn't different versions and variations of help or rehabilitation. It's just that now I can identify them, right? I'm actually accepting of them. Like, I want the next thing that I can utilize, not use, but I can utilize as a tool to make myself more successful,
Mhm.
right? And it doesn't matter what it takes. I'll
To
do
achieve
anything.
great.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
So um
Yeah.
that does make me a
When
little
I
sad
moved up,
sometimes, when I'm like, I could have had this a
yeah.
long time ago, but I understand that
Mhm.
along my journey, I was always where I was supposed to be at, right? And then
Mhm.
you just
You
accept
were
it, and
progressing the way you wanted to. Yeah.
yeah,
When I
yeah.
moved up north, I moved for many reasons, but one of them was a change. People, places, things, right? That's what you want to get away from when you want to get out of this life. But when you move, and no matter where you go, if you're not ready, different faces, same thing.
You pack your
Different
problems
movie,
in a bag and take them with you. Yeah,
exactly. And that's what it was. It was a different movie, or it was the same movie with different actors, and
that's it.
that had I didn't mean to, but I was 18. I knew everything. And I just went from one situation to the same situation with different faces without meaning to, but falling back into it, but differently because that was, when I started to get into like the coke and the meth and
Hmm.
added that in. It wasn't just the heroin anymore. So
Hmm.
it was just crazy, and it was a whirlwind, and it was whiplash, and you don't know from one minute to the next. And sometimes I don't know how I survived because I don't think I was supposed to sometimes.
Yeah,
I feel like I was close.
I still deal with what I mean, I try to be as selfless as I can. I do deal with like my sobriety. um it forces me to be selfish in ways, right? And that's another one of the defects where I'm trying to, I used to be selfish in a toxic way. Now I'm selfish in positive ways, right? And um being in a service career makes that part easy, but then it's like, what do I do with my personal time, right? And I have a handful of people that I've met here on YouTube, that I counsel with, that either have a loved one that's dealing with substance abuse issues, or this
Mhm.
person themselves. And I tell them right up front, like, I can't cure you. I can't solve your problems for you. I can't be your banker. I can't be your doctor. I can't be your shrink. But what I can be is someone that's not going to give up on you, right? I have a protocol. Like, if you're going to use, call me before you use, and let's talk about it. If you're going to
Mhm.
use, call me after you sleep it off, and we'll, what I'm saying, we'll do a play by play replay. And that is one thing that I never really had, was someone that would shoot it to me straight. Now, they were available. I just never grabbed onto one. And
Mhm.
now I am that person for a handful of people. Like, I'm here for you. I'm not going to kiss your ass, pardon my French. I'm not going to
Mm-mm.
sugarcoat it for you. I'm not going to tell you that what you did was okay because you felt this way. No. I'm going to shoot it to you straight. But I
Right.
promise you, you will not ever find me giving up on you. That well, hey, white boy, my this has always been an addiction. I start feeling froggy and I go to the sneaker store. I got sneakers. I got sneakers. I will never wear these sneakers. It just makes me feel good to know I have them.
Yeah, I got froggy and developed a Gucci addiction. I don't even
There
want to
you
tell you
go.
how much money I spent, but I told you he told me to get my own gift, and I got a lot of them.
And so
So
when I sin, Father, forgive me if I sin and buy, 2 pairs of Jordans this week. Don't be mad. I'm not going to wear them and show them off. I'm just going to sleep and bask in the light of them.
oh my god,
Hey,
that's so funny.
I'm a true sneakerhead. my, de- my my bedside desk is a bunch of Jordan boxes stacked up.
Like me and my Lucchese boots. Oh my gosh. I cried when I got them. He came home one day and I was sleeping and we wearing them, sleeping in them. I've worn them out in public like 3 times because I don't want to ruin them because they're
Right,
Lucchese boots. But,
girl. I got
oh
a
my,
pair of Lucchese's. I'm gonna show you right now. You're not gonna believe these when you see them.
you
They're,
understand.
they are my everyday boots, and I would poke somebody above the lung for them. They are the most
Right?
they're yeah, they're more comfortable than any pair of Jordan tennis shoes. But these are Lucchese Hornback Gator.
Those are nice, nice. Hell yeah.
Yes, I mean I polish and polish and polish. These are my. I need to get a new sole on the back, but these here, it's the only boots you'll ever need to wear. I love my Gators.
Um, what do you do when it's time like to go to sleep and the world is so loud, or when you're staying on your path and doing the right thing and following everything the way you're supposed to,
Hmm.
but the world is just screaming and you can't wind down and it's just you just what do you do to get that peace? Because I've not found it yet. I just lay there and pray or
Well,
lay there.
I think that it is something that I'm dealing with, trying to sort of find a path to the end of it. But part of my medicinal regimen is Seroquel, and the Seroquel for me, I take it every night at 9:30. I have an alarm set, and it shuts the world off for me. However, I'm a week on call from Monday to Monday, and then a week off. So the weeks that I'm on call, I take 1/3 of my prescribed dose because I can't sleep through the telephone ringing. So I'm definitely getting to a point now where I can really scale back and start, a taper, you know. Um,
Mhm.
but when I during my weeks on call, when I'm taking 1/3 of the dose, I think just quiet space is really important for me. To find a quiet place. I know so many people want to go to sleep with the YouTube on, or they want to go to sleep with a movie or true crime, whatever, right? Because you got to have that chatter. And I used to too. And I'm not going to lie, sometimes I do fall asleep listening to something. But for me to really turn it off, like I have to be able to listen to what's going on out the window. And in the middle of the night, there's nothing. So for me, I have to turn off all of the exterior stimulants, TV, music, lights, all of that. And if that doesn't work, then I'll do some reading, usually in the Bible. What I like to do is I'll just kind of card deal a spot in the Bible, and I'll put my finger down, and then I'll just start reading from there. And that is that's like last resort, right? I usually don't have to go to that, but that and just having very full days. I go to church on Wednesday nights. I go to church on Saturday nights. Um, I have very full work weeks and on call, and we have a new puppy. So I have a lot of things that keeps my body in motion. Um, in the beginning of my sobriety, I did have issues turning my mind off, and I think probably a more generic way to say it is, turning everything off. You don't have to be sitting like this with your, in the cross-legged, they call it now, uh, in the kindergarten, and
Crisscross
meditate. Crisscross applesauce. Yes, that's the way to say it. Right. Thank you. I don't have to crisscross applesauce and do this in order to be in meditation. Right. I can just be in quiet space. Doesn't matter about the lights or any of that, but just in a quiet space where I can adequately work out what my mind is kind of stuck on, and then I just work through it and go to sleep. If like I said, last resort is I get in the Bible and read something. I probably would read a book if I had a different book in my room, but I just don't. So I just read the Bible. How about you?
I just lay there and I pray. I pray a lot for hours sometimes. And if it doesn't work, because I do have a lot of pain, that also causes issues where my body just goes into spasms. My legs get paralyzed or numb. If I feel like I'm moving too much and I don't want to wake him up, I'll leave the room, and I'll sometimes, like 5 a.m, 4 a.m, I'll start getting ready for what, I don't know, but I don't know what else to do. I go somewhere else and I listen to audiobooks sometimes. They help a lot, the books that I listen to, but I just lay there in the dark and I just talk to God. That's the only thing that I've done for years, because that's all that I have found that works. And I don't want the quiet to get so loud that my brain decides that I need to do something else. I can't
I
get
get it.
point. So I don't. And like you, I haven't been on the channel doing anything for years, but I am still very much in contact with people who need help, or they want to talk about like any abuse or any addiction or any issues. Like I do a lot behind the scenes with people. So,
I've come to find that since I've been back, like the more I entertain the YouTube, the less I want to be active. Does that make sense? Probably the same thing you dealt with or are dealing with. It's like I have friends that are over here in this community, or I got people over here in this community, and I see what they're doing and the way that it spills over by me, and I'm like, yeah, like the more I'm here, the less I want to be here. Like I still have a large network of people that support me and I support them, and that is not contingent on me live streaming or doing videos or any of that stuff. And I'm not even probably a good observer, right? Like if I'm on YouTube, like I'm probably watching a real true crime story, or I listen to Matt, or, there's a few people I listen to. But if I really just want to stay out of the drama, like, man, I just will turn the YouTube off, just truly turn it off.
I use it for music mostly, and to mod for him. Like I said, I've been trying to get back into doing this again because I like to do it to help, to do like real advocating and real, educating and helping people. If you have a platform, you should use it for good and to help people, not to like attack and destroy and lie and bullshit and drama. It's just not, I don't feel like that's the right thing to do. I have a very small channel. There's, it's not big. I don't, claim to be anything special. I'm not a big deal around here. I'm just me. But if I can help one person or, meet with someone who has gone through what I've gone through and they feel safe and know they are not alone, then I've done my job. And that's
I agree.
why I'm coming back, because of all the shit.
It's the power of the one, right? Like I'm with you. Like if I can help one person do something different today that's going to be a betterment to their life, like, man, I won today. I won. I'm winning. You know what I mean? And sometimes I feel like I can't help anyone today, right? I'm helping me today. I just don't come. But I think that you definitely you're on to something here. I truly do. I think that you're on to helping yourself as well, right? Hopefully first you're helping Noel, and then by proxy of that advocacy, you're going to help many people. You know what I mean? Even if it means you start your own little support group for guys and gals like us to have somewhere to go where they're not judged, they don't feel minuscule or belittled. They have a true network. They know, okay, now Noel is open for business. I have an issue. I can come to Noel and she's going to help me get resources or get this or get what I need to complete myself. Right. Yeah.
It's what we have to do. And I was told that it was too heavy and it was triggering because a lot of people have been through it, not just addiction and abuse, but other things as well that I've tried to help with. And I found that when I was doing it, maybe people weren't really ready. Like there was a lot of people that wanted to be there and were ready. And then there were a lot more that it just was too much. And I'm not going to say I'm the first, because I'm sure there's others, but I was one of the main, like the only ones around in this area that we kind of, survive and live in, exist in, that was doing it. And so it was kind of like new and big for these people who are used to laughing and joking and bullshit and, who's getting cussed out today and whatnot. And it was just, they needed that for, them to be able to just wind down, relax and get rid of the shit that they dealt with that day. And I was they wanted to be supportive, but I was kind of making it harder for them at the same time, I think. But I want to come back, so here I am.
And I think that it's important to preface this sort of conversation, right? When you're in the rooms of AA and NA, a lot of groups they operate as a whole under the principle and the guides of AA, but a lot of them are autonomous, right? Like some groups will let you crosstalk, which crosstalk in AA talk means interrupt someone, right? A lot of groups won't. A lot of groups will forbid you to do war stories because a lot of time, the stuff we've talked about tonight, like active using stuff, sometimes that is triggering to certain people. And you hate to trigger someone, but to preface these conversations, like these are like speaker meetings, right? And if you're fluent in the NA and in AA rooms, you understand when you go listen to a speaker meeting, a third of that talk is going to be their war story, their using story, their lows, their highs, and then you get to the solution, right? You're bringing the solution. So it's not meant to trigger anyone, but that's the part of the reality of a speaker meeting, right? Like a speaker meeting is way different than, hey, we're doing a second step study guide, right? Or a third step or whatever it is, or an open discussion. This is about the war and then the fallout and then the resurrection, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You have to go through and cover and talk about and just like let it out, like all of that to move forward to get to the other stuff that they want you to focus on without facing and discussing and airing out all that stuff, even though you don't have to like air it out really, but without talking about it, you're not really facing it, your demons. People aren't facing theirs, and you're not able to come together 100% and move forward
Right.
together on the same page. And I don't
Right.
like everyone always gets annoyed because like I'm not going to conform. I'm not going to say things that are going to water down the severity of the situation. Like I was never raped, but I was raped. I was almost murdered. I'm not going to fucking sit there and say he tried to unalive me and it's
Right. You're taking away. Yeah, you're taking away the real true emotion of it by masking it with a silly word, right? Like that's stupid. I agree with you wholeheartedly. Those people are the people that are focused on keeping their monetization, right? Instead of meth, they're going to say math, or you know what I mean? It's like you're taking away from the issue by doing that. You're dumbing it down. This is a serious issue, right? So forget the
And it should
monetization.
be spoken about. Like we're adults and we all know what it is and we've all been through it. And for me to water down any situation, whether it's mine or whether it's yours or whether it's someone else's, it's kind of insulting.
It's very
And
insulting. I agree.
it doesn't allow you to understand the entire situation. It's this one giant situation filled with a whole bunch of little things and big things and horrible things. And they are not to be watered down or downplayed to make it seem like, this happened, but it wasn't such a big deal. No, it was a really big deal and it was traumatic and it still to this day affects me. They say like, when you can talk about things without crying. Well, I cry all the fucking time.
That's okay.
I'm an emotional person. And when I'm mad, I cry. Like it doesn't matter. I've been through too much to not have feelings and cry, or to hear someone talk and cry with them or for them, because I understand more than you realize. And a big part of why I continued to allow myself to relapse and escape into that world was because I needed to escape. And my only way of escaping was to not really be there.
Disconnect. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. For sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anyway, do you have anything else that you would like to say to the lovely wonderfuls in here?
I just, I appreciate everyone. I've seen, I can finally see it now. It wasn't there before. I could see it real small here on the vertical thing. For some reason, I don't know, I couldn't see it over here. And I just appreciate everyone for supporting Noel, in her comeback and her decision to sort of, aim her platform, at this topic. And I think that, I think that's a beautiful thing. I see a lot of new names that I don't see around me. And then I see a bunch of the OGs that been around for years. And this is one of those subjects, like, if it's not for you, it's not for you. But we now live in a day and age where addiction has touched almost every family. It's touched a lot of the people in the chat as well. And I think that, I will do my best to help this situation flourish for Noel. And I would ask that everybody else, help flourish it as well. If you know somebody that's struggling with an alcohol or substance abuse issue, there's a lot of resources in the chat log. Maybe it could just start by you sharing this video to someone that's maybe even just silently suffering, because it takes a lot. It took a lot for me and Herb. And how long have we tentatively been planning this?
About 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Again.
And we've talked about, I mean, I know her story, she knew my story, And you know, it takes a lot to put yourself out here like this. There's a lot of scrutiny. There's, you know, people that are making fun or they got sly shots, whatever it is, right? But it takes a lot to come here and be honest. And hopefully that's enough to open the door for at least one person to, you know, get on the right track of, you know, better living. So,
Yeah, we have to be there for each other. I'm not sure if everyone understands or realizes, but Benny and I have never really been like the best of friends, or we didn't even like. He may have been somebody I chased down the road with a knife once upon a time. If I'd
hey,
seen
but
him in
now we chat it's never just once a day. We chat multiple times a day now.
We do. We're friends. I
Yeah.
genuinely like him as a person, like as a whole. And you know, in the beginning, he had apologized, and I appreciate it, but I get it. Shit happens. You know, he was like, Miss Noel. I'm like, dude, we are way past Miss Noel. Like, just call me Noel.
I mean, so much of that came from a place of like genuine embarrassment, right? It's like, you know, I did a lot of things and said a lot of things, even if I was in my and this is gonna sound funny, even when I was in my marijuana addiction. In my marijuana addiction, I didn't smoke like regular people, right? I smoked a half ounce or an ounce a day, and never making clear thoughts, you know, not treating people with respect, treating people, you know, how I felt about myself, right? I just treat the world as a, you know, treat the world in a reflection of how I feel about me. And then when it went back to hard stuff, like, you know, the end was near. And so when you come back and you're renewed, it's like this constant facing embarrassment, you know, and that was just sort of my road back, you know. You know, it was just my way. And she, you know, Noelle did, she gave me that softer place to land. And I'm very appreciative of that, because Matt and Noelle don't owe me anything, right? And I don't owe Matt and Noelle anything. But here we are, like me and Matt, we've buried the hatchet. I speak to his wife far more than I speak to him. And he's, you know, never been an issue, right? So and
No, no.
we've talked about the depths of our lives, me and Noelle, and it's never been an issue for Matt. And so, and I'm very respectful when I speak to Noelle, and she's very respectful of me too. In fact, I'll tell you this. I actually have one other person that if I fall asleep after Noelle texts me, first thing I say in the morning is sorry. I apologize immediately. Other people, I'm just like, hey, what's up, man? Who this?
What do you want? Yeah, it's we
Thank you, Mr. Matt.
really mesh well as friends.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
when Matt and Benny, you know, they figured it out and became friends, I kind of like, okay, whatever. I don't care. And it's not that, you know, I wasn't judging. I didn't care. Like, cool. You know, he says he wants to do a good thing. Now we've all seen the Benny go back and forth, up and down, you know, thing, the roller coaster. And, you know,
Right.
I don't think
Thank you, Matt. Thank you
that
very much.
at any point I was like, it's going to fail. It's going to go. We'll see. I wish him well. And that, you know, I can't say that I ever doubted you, but I didn't know you. So all I could say is, right, I wish that he does well. I don't want him to fail. If this is what he wants, you know, we'll see. And, you know, hopefully he goes the mile, you know, and then him and Matt start talking. And then you and I start talking, and it's just like, now I'm in your chats and on YouTube, and I'm just like, who'd have ever thought this shit was going to happen? Like, I'm sitting here just whatever, hanging out. And then, like, you know, like, hey, blah, blah, blah. And then he says something. And so now we're texting and talking, and Matt and him are texting and talking. And it's just like, it meshes. It's natural. It's like nothing ever happened. And I never, even back then, like, you were a pain in the ass. You caused a lot of problems.
Oh,
Matt
well,
caused
yeah.
a lot of problems. He
Yeah.
was a pain in the fucking ass too. But you know what? Like I can only say that like I probably like hated you like 2 different times. Like I fucking hate that motherfucker. You know, like maybe 2 or 3 times I can honestly say like you got under my skin to the point where like I wish to God I was in fucking Texas right now, man. But it was never like I didn't care. Like do what you want to do. It doesn't bother me.
I've said to more than one person, I was like, if I were to ever meet up with Matt and Noel in life, we probably wouldn't talk about anything about YouTube because we're not in the same sphere really. So it's not like we're gonna sit down there and have a 4-hour chat about YouTube stuff, right? And I also, because of the respect that I have for Matt, the newfound respect, I actually reached out to him one time and I was like, hey man, look, I know that I probably associate with some people that you're not fond of, right? And I know that some people aren't fond of the fact that I associate with you. He's like, man, I don't care about that. And I was like, me either. Like, I don't care. But I just want to let you know because, I respect where we're at as men, right? Like, I just want to tell you, like, because I might be over here doesn't mean that I'm saying F you or F you. And I feel like you and Matt are one or two of the very few, right? Like most
100%.
generally, if you're over here and this person over here has a problem with these people, all of a sudden this person thinks you're, now you have this big mess
Yeah.
and he's like, man, I don't care about it either, right? Like just because you're friendly with someone doesn't mean that you're not friends with me or you don't respect me. But don't we
Absolutely.
don't play into the
shouldn't matter.
politic, Thank you,
It
Rivers.
shouldn't, and it doesn't matter. And
No.
Since day one, I've always said, I don't care where you go. Like you can go anywhere you want. YouTube is bigger than me. There's a million people out there. I don't have to like your friends. You don't have to like all of mine. Like I don't get along with everyone Matt likes, and he sure as shit don't get along with everybody that I like. It doesn't matter.
No,
that's just
I'm
the way
not
it
going to
goes,
judge
right?
your character by who you hang out with on YouTube. It makes me
Exactly. Just be real. Like, don't talk shit about them to me. Don't talk shit about me to them. And remember, screenshots exist. Like if you're going to be, sideways in a chat or whatever, or even privately, whatever. I can't tell you how many screenshots I get just because people like, look at this shit. Okay, well, guess what? I love awkwardness.
Same,
Wait till I
girl,
come back.
same.
Hey, how are you? Oh, you love me? So let me pull this up right quick. You
didn't love me at 11:52.
Like I just don't care where you go.
Right.
We can get along means nothing. Why? Because I'm not, here for them. And you're not here for them. We're here as friends for each other, and that's all that it matters.
Right.
We can network however we want, go wherever
all
you
that
want.
matters is that I'm treated well by you, and all that should matter to you is that I treat you well. All the rest of it it's just politics, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
it means nothing. We're adults. We're allowed to have different friends. How boring would the world be if we were the same in everything we did?
That's it.
I mean, for fuck's sakes.
Well, I can't tell you how appreciative I am that we had this talk, and part of me staying sober is doing things like this, sharing my story, sharing my hope, my progress, the opportunity to be honest about character defects, my faults, shortcomings, all of those things. It's what will keep people like me and Noel sober for another day. So
absolutely. That it's so important, and just like somebody mentioned something to me randomly out of the blue, and I just like, hey, yo, are you okay? Just wanted to check in, make sure that you're okay, and we had a little conversation. I'm like, I just, I just want to let you know I'm here. I'm a friend, just checking in.
Yeah.
And it's what you should do for your friends. And that's what I felt like, even though that we were not like, we didn't know each other that well at that point, I still will always offer support to somebody. Back when your sister passed, there was shit going on everywhere, and I was live, and someone said something, and I was like, well, I'm not going to speak about him at all today. And they were like, well, Benny's this and Benny that. I'm like, well, listen, Benny's going through a lot. He lost his sister. I said it, and even enemies deserve peace for a day. And I'm not going to address any of that because he deserves peace, and I'm going to respect that. I don't have to like you to give you what you deserve, and that's what you deserved. Whether or not, wherever your mind was and you and Matt were doing your thing, like, I don't have to participate.
Right.
And so, that's just the way
Very
I
much
am. Like,
appreciate.
it doesn't matter, even if we were not friends and you need, like, oh, Noel would know, and you hit me up, I wouldn't be like, what the fuck do you want? I'd be like, oh yeah, blah, blah, blah. I could still talk to you and have an adult conversation with you, not being your friend, not even liking you. I'd rather you ask for something that you knew was the truth than put something you thought out and then it's just a big lie. And,
When it's
I
right,
don't
it's
like.
right. Yeah.
That's
I'm
right.
a Pisces, baby. You hear me?
My husband's Pisces. I'm a Sagittarius, and my husband's a Pisces.
Your Sagittariuses are cool too. You want to end with the Lord's Prayer?
Yeah, you want to do it?
Yeah, I sure will. You ready?
Let's do it.
All right. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thy is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever and ever. Amen.
Amen.
All right. Thank
All
you,
right.
Ms. Noel, for having me.
Thank you all so much, everybody. Benny, thank you for everything, and I hope you have a
Later,
great
Matt.
night. Stay strong.
You too.
If anybody needs anything from either one of us, you know how to find us. If you need help, advice, if you're scared, if you just need to talk, hit us up. We're not hard to find.
No,
Much love
in
and
fact,
respect, everyone.
my email is real easy to find. You can find it. So come to my channel, wherever. You email me 24 hours a day. I'm going to get back with you.
Yep.
All right. Hit
All
you
right,
later.
y'all. Be safe. Good night.
Good
Bye.
night.
How's it going?